Congratulations, Lieutenant. You've apprehended the most vicious criminal since Jesse James. And you're going to receive a handsome reward from my bank.
Oh, just doing my job, Mr. Drysdale. I don't want any reward.
No. I insist. Miss Hathaway, see that this fine detective receives one of our new calendars.
All right, Foxy.
Foxhall, sir. Colonel Gaylord Mayweather Foxhall.
Colonel Baloney, you're a thief and an extortionist. Hanging's too good for you.
Now, take it easy, Mr. Drysdale.
He tried to blackmail Mr. Clampett for $1 million.
I know the charge. And the moment Mr. Clampett identifies him, he'll be arraigned.
I'll identify him. He's a crook and a murderer.
Murder?
That $1 million would have come from my bank.
And believe me, that would have killed him.
Stand aside, you miserable money merchant.
You touch me with that, and you'll receive the thrashing of your life.
Now, look.
That did it! Thrash him, Miss Hathaway.
Control yourself.
Would you please drive him around the block till he cools off?
Of course, Lieutenant.
Well, keep your eyes open for the Colonel's accomplice. We think she may still be hiding in the neighborhood.
Oh, yes, that's the young lady who claimed to be Emmeline Fetty from back in the hills.
Actually, her name is Rita Rio, alias Country Kate, and she's one of the cleverest girls in the whole extortion racket.
She's a shameless Jezebel. She deliberately tricked Mr. Clampett into a compromising situation and took pictures with which to blackmail that
Mr. Drysdale, we know what she did. Now, the moment she's apprehended, she'll go to jail.
If the Clampetts find her first, she'll never make it to jail.
What do you mean?
Did you ever hear of mountain justice? An eye for an eye. They're probably out right now tracking down that girl with their trusty bloodhound.
Mr. Drysdale's dog can sit up and speak. You can't even fetch a stick. Now watch. Go! Go, get him, boy! Get him, go! Now watch!
Jethro,
Duke?
come over here. I want to talk to you.
Listen, Duke. When I said that Mr. Drysdale's dog could speak, I didn't mean words. I meant whoofs and barks and arf, 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 and like that. You know? Emmeline?
Shh, help me over.
Well, where you been?
I've been hiding.
Well, who from?
The police.
What for?
They think I was trying to trick y'all out of money.
You? Dumb old country girl? Trick us? That's allowed.
Yeah, ain't it so?
Well, everybody knows the Fettys was the dumbest, tackiest, homeliest bunch in the hill.
I know it.
Oh, come on now. Don't go to bawling. For somebody to come from a box of culls, you ain't such a mess.
Thank you, Jethro.
As for being dumb, you got to remember, next to me, pretty near anybody'd look dumb.
Gee, I wish I was as smart as you. Because then I could figure out how to get away from the police.
Why, sure. It'd be a shame to let an education like mine go to waste. Besides, I kind of like you.
You're just teasing me.
Oh, no, I ain't. Well, why? One time I was thinking of...
Jethro, remember you were going to help me figure out how to get away from the police?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll sit right down here and get my brain to clicking. I think better setting. Now, let's see.
I sure do appreciate this. Jethro. Jethro.
Did I think of something?
Oh, yeah. And you talked in your sleep, too.
Well, what'd I say?
You said, since the police were looking for a dumb old country girl, that I ought to sneak up them back stairs and put on one of them fancy dresses that Ellie gave me.
Yeah?
Then you said you'd learn me how to be a sophisticated city girl. The police would never know it was me.
Hot dog! I sure come up with a dandy, didn't I?
Sure did.
And that was just while my brain was a-coasting. Think of what I'd have come up with if I'd have thrown that scamp into high gear.
Why, it plumb scares me to think about it.
For the last time, I implore you, do not summon Mr. Clampett to this door and unleash upon my snowy brow the fearful fury of mountain vengeance.
Mr. Clampett has to identify you and sign a complaint.
Then I warn you, my blood is on your hands, and upon your conscience the everlasting...
Doggy, I thought I heard speech making out here. Come on in, Colonel Foxhall. You too, young fella.
That is Foxhall.
Oh, glad to meet you, Mr. Foxhall. You two got names a heap alike, ain't you?
My name is Richards. I'm a bunco specialist.
A bunco specialist?
Yes, sir. I handle frauds, swindles, blackmails, things like that.
Maybe it's none of my business, Colonel, but why would you want to take up with a swindler?
No, you don't understand.
Well, look who's here, Colonel Foxhole. And who's this young feller?
Granny, the name is Foxhall.
Howdy, Mr. Foxhole.
No, I'm not Foxhole.
He claims he's Richards, but I hear tell that criminals changing their names a lot.
Criminals?
He admits to being a swindler and a blackmailer.
Just a minute. Let me see if I can get this straightened out for you. My name is Frank Richards. Lieutenant Frank Richards.
Now he's claiming to be in the Army.
What do y'all do down here? Oh, howdy, Colonel Foxhole.
Foxhall.
Oh, you calling him that? He won't answer to that name.
Before things become any more confused, we're here for one purpose, to have you identify a criminal. Now,
Well, how can I do that when you can't make up your own mind who you are?
Is he a criminal?
Indeed he is, Jethro. Seize him.
No, wait a minute.
I got it. Excellent. Now you hold him while I go summon help.
Stop him! Hey, old Jed. He's got a gun under his coat.
What could you say?
Quiet, ornery rascal.
Now, look.
Young fella, it's bad enough being a swindler, but when you come into my home toting a pistol, you done muddied up my creek.
You're going to get a whooping. Take him to the woodshed, Jethro.
We ain't got no woods yet. I'll take him to the cellar. Down! Now, you just stop squirming.
Hey, Jethro, what you got there?
I got me a little old swindler, that's what.
Oh, what you doing with it?
Oh, I'm taking him down to the cellar. Miss, can you make him turn loose of me?
I sure can.
You can't neither.
I can, too.
You can't.
Can.
Can't.
I'll show you.
Ow!
Oh, me, I've got melon, old swindler.
You give me back my swindler.
Oh, howdy, Mr. Drysdale. Come in, come in.
Thank you, Mr. Clampett.
You missed a big excitement.
Oh, really?
He doesn't have just a swindler.
Oh, yes, I know about that. Where is the scoundrel?
Got him tied up down the cellar?
Oh, good, good. I was hoping you'd give him a taste of mountain justice. He's a charlatan, a blackmailer.
He may be all that, Mr. Drysdale, but you got to admire his spunk.
Spunk?
Granny done dusted his britches twice, and he still claims to be a detective.
Hey, Dingies, I'll get the truth out of that rascal as soon as I get this thing trimmed down. Colonel Foxhole, what are you doing in my broom closet?
Just waiting for this golden opportunity, my dear. The opportunity of being alone with you.
What you mean?
The very moment I first laid eyes upon you, my heart has been your prisoner. It was love at first sight. Now I can only think of Granny. Granny. Granny.
Hold it right there.
Did I say something wrong?
Yeah. Call me Daisy.
Ah, fairest flower of the field. How like the petal of a daisy is your soft, delicate hand. She loves me. She loves me not. She loves me. She loves me not.
Do this petal again.
She loves me.
Stop right there, quick, while you're ahead.
Now I must say farewell, dear lady.
Where are you going?
Because I must flee the hounds of injustice that even now are baying at my heels. But I shall treasure this moment forever of being alone with you. And I shall carry throughout eternity the memory of your beauty and the dream of a love that might have been. Farewell.
Hold on, Colonel. You have done away with the stopper under my nose. Now don't go running off with the jug.
There's the swindler! Colonel Foxhole?
Foxhall, alias Freddy the Fox, alias Lay on the Lip.
Never mind that. Arrest him.
Don't lay a hand on my coat.
You're Colonel?
I done made a prisoner of his heart. Ain't I, Gaylord?
Indeed you have, Daisy.
Have a petal.
No, you look like Granny's got a fish on her line.
Granny, the Colonel is going to jail.
Oh, no, he ain't.
Look at that rascal. He's going at it like corn on a cob.
And I ain't gonna let him eat and run.
Mr. Clampett, this man tried to take you for $1 million.
Give it to him, Jed.
Are you going to allow this charlatan?
Come.
me, but 5's ridiculous. Gaylord and me is going for a little stroll in the garden.
You're letting him get away?
He'll escape.
Oh, he ain't going nowhere. Granny done buttered that old cat's claws.
But, Mr. Clampett.
Now, look, I know that the Colonel has got its faults, but they say that the love of a good woman can work wonders. Now, you leave this all up to us.
Won't you sign a complaint for me?
No, you give us a little trouble, but I ain't going to complain.
Emmeline, it's me, Jethro.
Howdy, Mel. Is Emmeline here?
I'm Emmeline.
Hot dog. I done worked my magic on you, didn't I?
Oh, dear. I reckon you're smarter than a circus dog.
Well, yeah. If I can learn you to talk as good as me, you'll fool police for sure.
Think you can?
Oh, heck yeah. You ain't no dumber than old Duke, and I learned him.
What do you want me to do?
Well, let's hear you say, the goo in the slough gets mainly in your shoe.
The goo in the slough gets mainly in your shoe.
I think you got it. You might find it hard to fit it into a conversation, especially during a dry spell.
I'll watch for my chance.
And now I got to learn you how to walk.
Well, I know how to walk.
Oh, you know how to walk country. I'm going to learn you how to walk city. Now you try.
How's that?
Done it again, didn't I?
Just a regular genius.
Yeah, I reckon so.
Now all I gotta do is get to town, find me a job, pick out a new name.
A new name?
Yeah. Police are looking for Emmeline Fatty. I've gotta change it.
Oh, yeah. I got it, Alberta Fetty.
No, I think the Fetty has to go too. What I need is a city name.
Well, how about Chicago?
I mean a Christian name.
What about St. Louis?
I'll think of a name while I'm looking for a job. Jethro.
Oh, no, that's my name.
Do you think I could pull a job? I mean, get a job at the bank? I mean, do you think Mr. Drysdale would recognize me?
Heck no. Well, I didn't even recognize you, and he ain't half as smart as me. I'll even learn you to cipher.
Boy.
Oh, no, that won't work. I done made you too pretty.
What do you mean?
Why, his wife is jealous as a cat with one kitten.
Really?
Why, if she saw him with you, why, she'd snatch him bald.
You just dropped me off at the bank. I'll take care of things from there, Jethro.
Oh, are you fetching along your cuckoo clock?
Oh, well, it needs repairing.
Well, don't take it to the camera store again, you dumb old girl.
I will.
Well, I'll show you a place right near the bank on Beverly Boulevard.
Thank you. Say, there's a name I could use.
Boulevard?
Beverly.
Oh.
All I need's a surname.
Galahad!
Jethro.
Done it again, didn't I?
Excuse me, Chief. This young lady is a special investigator from the district attorney's office.
Yes, Mr. Drysdale. We've recovered an important piece of evidence. The camera with which Emmeline Fetty took those incriminating pictures of Mr. Clampett.
Excellent, excellent. See that she gets the calendar I promised that jerky detective.
You see, Mr. Drysdale, the camera is concealed within this cuckoo clock and is activated by means of an electronic triggering device.
Poor, simple, trusting Jed Clampett. He still doesn't know what happened.
Precisely why I came to you, Mr. Drysdale. I thought a man of your intelligence and sophistication might be able to help me reconstruct the modus operandi used by this Emmeline Fetty.
Oh, I'd be glad to cooperate.
Excuse me, that isn't her real name, is it?
No, it's Rita Rio. alias Country Kate.
Now, it's too bad I didn't see her first. I would have spotted her as an adventuress immediately.
Really?
Oh, yes, at a glance.
So young to be a bank president.
Young in years, perhaps, but in wisdom and experience. Hardaway, you may return to your office. This is a confidential crime detection matter. Take a coffee break. Now, where were we?
We were going to try and figure out how Mr. Clampett could have allowed himself to be photographed in those incriminating poses.
Oh, well, that's not hard. First of all, you've got to remember that he's a simple man from the hills, naive and unsuspecting.
Just the opposite of you.
Exactly. She probably put this cuckoo clock on a table or dresser or something, and then concealed this gadget in her hand.
I see.
And then she probably threw her arms around him and
You mean
kissed
like
him.
this?
Yeah, it was probably something like that.
I'm so grateful to you, Mr. Drysdale.
My pleasure. Let me know how things develop.
Oh, we're expecting a development very shortly. And we will make sure that you get the picture.
And they talk about police brutality.
Uncle Jed, I done decided on my life's calling.
Well, good, boy. What's it going to be? Atomic scientist or fry cook?
Neither one. I'm going to open me up a charm school.
What?
A charm school? Why, Uncle Jed, I took a poor, dumb old country gal and turned her into a regular Theta-Bara.
You did?
Yeah. Well, man, you should have seen me. I learned her to dress fancy, talk city, and strut around like a flat-footed goose on a hot rock. When I got through with her, she was pretty enough to pick and sweet enough to put up in a jar. Oh, you'd have never thought that she'd come from back in the... They'll give away who she is.
Emmeline Fetty?
Who told you? Don't give it away, Uncle Jed. Did somebody Duke?
What are you ranting about?
Oh, don't try to cover up for him, Uncle Jed.
Excuse me, Chief. Colonel Foxhall insists upon seeing you.
Greetings, my
Get
dear.
out of here, you crook! It's bad enough for you to be running loose at the Clampetts, but I will not have you in my bank.
Now, calm yourself.
If you stay around here, you're going to be in real trouble. There was a young lady here from the district attorney's office, and if she comes back and finds you
Was
here...
that the young lady?
Yes, and if she...
I'm going to get right to the point. I'm going to let you have these at a most reasonable price.
Oh, no! Not one penny. You're not dealing with Jed Clampett right now. You're dealing with a man of the world. Right to the police, that's where I'm going.
Right to your wife. That's where these are going.
They want it?
Unless I have your certified check for $50,000 within 5 minutes, my associate will deliver duplicates of these pictures to Mrs. Drysdale.
No.
What you crying about, Mr. Drysdale?
Oh, Mr. Clampett, I'm being victimized by this blackguard. He'll ruin my marriage if I don't pay him $50,000.
I can beat that deal for you, Colonel.
You mean you're offering more money?
No, I'm offering to keep you out of jail. You promise to behave yourself, Mr. Drysdale, let you go.
No, I'm in no position to bargain. Even now, duplicates of these pictures are being delivered to my wife.
You mean these?
Where did you get those pictures?
Took them off of Emmeline when I seen her sneaking over to the Drysdale. Come on in, Emmeline.
Colonel, I think we ought to go along with Mr. Clampett. Behave ourselves.
Emmeline and me had a long talk. That done some good. Then Granny took her down to the cellar and got right to the seat of the trouble.
Yeah. Nobody ever explained right from wrong to me the way she done.
Now, Colonel, Granny is cooking up a big mess of side meat and black-eyed peas. Now, don't that sound better to you than bread and water?
It does, sir. Indeed it does.
Emmeline? Well, what happened to you? You ain't Beverly Galahad no more.
You best ask your Uncle Jed.
Granny and me had a little talk with her, Jethro.
Excuse me now. I have to go help fix the black-eyed peas.
Well, Ellie, there goes your education. No use having a school of charm around here.
What you talking about?
I had that girl looking and talking like a movie star. And 5 minutes with them two hillbillies, and she's right back where she started. Okay, now. I showed you how to split wood. Now, you come on over here and let's see you do it. Now, listen, Maybelle. If you could learn to do my chores, well, I'd give you half my allowance. I'd get 50 cents a week. After that, it'd be a nickel. All right. Calm down. I'll make it a dime. All right, quit your fussing. I'll split it right down the middle. Now get busy and chop wood. I either got to get me a smaller axe or a bigger rake.
Hey, what y'all doing?
Just playing. Hey, listen, Ellie. You know, poor little old Maybelle gets awful lonesome. How would you like for her to have a big brother?
All right. You can be her big brother.
Me, Ellie? I mean another monkey. A great big one.
What, do they come bigger than Maybelle?
Why, heck yeah. Why, they's great big ones. It's called a gorilla.
Gorilla?
Well, yeah. Why, that rascal could chop wood till... he'd be a heap of fun to have around.
Well, is he big enough to wrestle?
Is he? Why, a gorilla's got arms pretty near as long as mine.
Come on, Maybelle. Let's go in the ice park. We can have one.
Uncle Jed, you gonna get Ellie Mae a gorilla?
Granny and me were just talking it over.
He's awful nice to have.
I'm again it. Ellie's too busy taking care of her critters now.
A gorilla can do that for her.
Ain't a gorilla a critter?
Oh, yeah? Except he's smarter than most. Pretty near as smart as me.
What the hell?
Pretty near as big as me, too. And can work like me.
Well, if he eats like you, forget it. I ain't cooking for another table buzzard.
You wouldn't have to cook for him. Gorillas don't eat nothing but leaves.
Leaves?
Well, yes, sir. And talk about strong. Well, I could learn that rascal to chop wood, pull a plow, or do...
Do what?
Do the ironing or the washing or whatever else you said.
What do you think, Granny?
Well, it won't do no harm to take a look at one.
Yeah, we could take him on approval.
I'll call Mr. Drysdale, see, can he find us one?
Hot dog. I know you're going to like having a gorilla around. I'll go read up on him in the encyclopedia. There's lots of things they can take.
Well, morning, Mr. Drysdale. This here is Jed Clampett.
Oh, Mr. Clampett, good morning. Morning. What can I do for you?
Well, I'd like to ask you a little favor.
Consider it done. Any time I can't do you a little favor, I'll transfer your $60 million into another bank.
Well, thank you. You ain't never failed us yet.
And I won't fail you now. What is it you'd like?
Well, we'd like us a gorilla.
One gorilla coming up.
One gorilla. Did you say gorilla?
Did you say gorilla?
Yes, sir. One of them big apes.
The kind that eats leaves.
Can you get him over here this morning, Mr. Drysdale?
Sooner the better. How about it?
Well, Mr. Clampett, there's nothing I'd rather do than get you a gorilla.
Well, thank you. I knew we could count on you. Bye.
But, Mr. Clampett, hello. Well, Miss Hathaway, you certainly got me into a mess this time.
I haven't done anything.
That's why I'm in a mess next time you answer the phone. I can't get him a gorilla. What am I going to do?
Well, you've already provided the answer to that.
I have?
Yes. Transfer Mr. Clampett's $60 million to another bank.
Put him up.
Calm down. Now, it is obvious the Clampetts have never seen a gorilla. Just take them to the zoo. One look at that fearsome anthropoid beating his huge chest, baring his fangs.
No. I made Jed Clampett a promise, and I'm going to keep it.
But, Chief, you can't deliver a live gorilla to their home.
You just get those letters typed. I'm going to handle this on the executive level.
Greystoke is here. Tommy. Miss Hathaway, this is Tom Kelly, the greatest gorilla impersonator in the business.
Chief, you might have prepared me.
Well, I wanted to test the effect.
Well, it's devastating. How did he get it back?
Oh, he changed the men's room down the hall.
Pardon me, Mr. Drysdale, but there's one of your tellers out in the window ledge.
This is an amazingly authentic costume. You really gave me a start.
I've even frightened other gorillas. You can imagine what I'm going to do to those hillbillies.
Oh, exactly. What is the plan?
Well, I'm going to be delivered to the Clampett doorstep, just as Mr. Drysdale promised. But in a cage, of course.
I see.
Now, when they come out to look at me, I put on my act. I start pounding my chest, and then I snarl, and I reach for them through the bars.
Well, that should certainly convince them they can never make a pet of a gorilla. May I?
Go ahead. Now, in case that shouldn't work, one side of the cage has got some trick bars, you know, so I can spread them out like gargantua. Well, when I start to bend those big steel bars to get out, people really panic. Otis, get the teller off the ledge.
No, I found out he was due for a raise, so I left him out there to think it over. Now, Tommy, the truck will deliver you to the Clampetts in your cage. And when you've done your act, you'll come back here with... Miss Hathaway, take that off. Oh, yes. When you come back here, we'll settle the
Oh, that's very funny.
Come on, everybody, he's here.
Mr. Drysdale sure kept his word.
Don't go too close right off. We don't want to scare him.
How come he's in the cage? So he won't run away, I reckon. Don't worry about that. I'll butter his paws.
Sure is big and stout, ain't he, Granny?
Appears to be if he ain't all hair.
Granny, the way he's thumping himself, I think he's got a touch of heartburn.
Yeah. Probably from eating all them leaves.
Could be they's repeating on him.
I'll stir up some soda water and peppermint. That ought to ease him some. Ain't he cute, Pa?
I don't know if I'd call him cute, Ellie, but it's hard to look pleasant with an upset stomach. You've been reading up on this critter. Don't he eat anything besides leaves?
Just roots and bark and stuff. He's what you call herbivorous.
Nice name.
Gonna call him Herbie.
Ellie Mae, run in the house and tell Granny to hurry up with that peppermint and soda water. This poor critter is suffering something pitiful. Now, hang on, Herbie. Hep's on the way.
Granny's coming.
Herbie, you're going to feel better now.
Here you are, boy. Just bring this down. Why, you ornery varmint? Granny, you hurt him. I'm going to learn him some manners.
Now, Granny, you got to make a loud... Look out! Heartburn or no heartburn, I ain't going to stand still for that. Unlock the door, Jethro.
I can't, Uncle Jed. It's padlocked.
I know you, Herbie. I'll learn you to pick on a poor, weak, helpless old...
Look at that.
You hadn't ought to got Granny riled.
You're going to the woodshed. And when I'm done with you, your heart won't be the only thing burning. Get out. Ellie, cut me a switch.
Please, Granny, don't switch him. Give him another chance. You sorry, ain't you, Herbie? You ain't gonna be bad no more, are you?
Doggies, Jethro's right. He's pretty near human.
Too human, if you ask me. Jethro, take him upstairs and get him into some clothes.
Clothes?
You heard me. Get going.
Come on, Herbie. He don't want to go, Granny.
Who asked him?
It's all right, Herbie. Maybe I'll wear his clothes. And while you's getting dressed, I'll get you a nice basket of leaves to eat.
Now get on upstairs with Jethro.
Granny, he appears like he's got a mind of his own.
Well, he can't learn too young that we don't take orders from AIP.
Jethro, fetch him back.
Give me your pocket knife, Jed. I'm gonna have to cut me a switch.
Well, Granny, let's try kindness first. Remember, his stomach is out of whack.
I offered him some soda water, and he knocked it out of my hand and fetched me a rap on my head.
Try a cup of your hot possum broth. That'll get him to smiling.
Open the door, somebody.
Come on, Herb. Come on, show Granny how nice you look. What do you think, Granny?
He looks like Leif Crick.
Them's latest overalls he's wearing. Good thing he left them behind.
My clothes was too binding on him. Uncle Jed's, too.
That's a big mess of monkey. Never did get underdrawers on him.
Well, I'll run him up a couple of pair. Come on, Herbie. Let's get more. Don't you give me that.
Granny!
Oh, you just wait till I cut me a switch.
We washed him upstairs. Take him to the table, Jethro.
Come on, Herbie.
You can forget about switching him. He's got a hide on his seat that thick.
No.
You could sole a shoe with him.
Here you are, Herbie. I picked you a basket of nice fresh leaves.
Now, hold on, Ellie. We think that's what gives him the dyspepsy.
But Uncle Jed, that's what the encyclopedia says, that gorillas like to eat.
Granny made him some nice soup.
Well, let's let Herbie decide which one he'd rather have. You want leaves?
Here's what he wants. Some of Granny's possum broth. This'll put hair on you, thank you. And you see them little chunks floating around in there? To give it extra flavor, I diced up the tail. Take that hairy goomer out of my kitchen. He ain't fit to sit at the table. Wait.
Come on, Herbie.
You let go of him, Jumper. He's my gorilla.
I don't fight over him, young'uns. There's enough ape there for everybody.
They wanted a gorilla, I delivered a gorilla.
Well, where do you suppose Mr. Kelly is now?
Probably at the bank trying to collect his fee.
Well, didn't you make arrangements?
Of course. He's to get his money from one of the tellers. The one who's out on the ledge.
Come on, Herbie. You gotta get this wood split before Granny finds us.
Please, Paul, make him stop. Jethro's gonna have my gorilla too tired to wrestle.
I wonder how Jethro got him to work so hard.
Well, like I keep telling you, Herbie, if you don't get this wood split, I'm gonna make you eat that possum soup.
Jethro? You got that poor ape busier than a beaver in a sawmill.
Oh, heck, Uncle Jed. He ain't even worked up a sweat.
Seems frazzled to me.
Now I'm gonna learn him to plow, hoe taters, and mow the lawn.
No, you ain't neither. Paul got that gorilla for me and Maybelle.
Yeah, but he's real handy at doing
Jethro,
things like...
let Ellie have him for a spell.
Come on, Maybelle. I want you to meet your big brother Herbie. And he's gonna take you for a nice little stroll.
Sorry, Chief, no sign of life.
I just had a horrible thought. What if that gorilla scared them so bad they went back to the hills?
Oh, I hardly...
That's what probably happened. One look at that terrifying beast, and they hopped in the truck and took off. Now, we'll never see them again.
Chief! Isn't that the terrifying beast approaching?
Wearing clothes and pushing a baby buggy. Tommy, what happened?
You and your simple hillbillies. I'm getting out of here.
No, wait.
Wait, nothing. They're working me to death.
Now, Tommy, listen to reason.
Did you care to take my car?
Hold on there, you hairy varmint! Get out of that car and into the kitchen before I take this stick to you.
No, Granny, don't hit him.
That's what Jed said. And look what it got us. A car thief.
Granny,
He's in the kitchen like a cook. It happens every time. Spare the rod and spoil the ape.
Mr. Clampett, you can't domesticate a gorilla. Do I?
Have them do ironing and things like that.
They're dangerous. You can't trust them.
That's the truth. Look what he done to Granny's bloomer. Knowing her, see him, she'd scorch his.
What are you doing? Oh, I'm just waving to the gorilla. You know, I'd like to try and make friends with him. Do you mind?
No, he needs all the friends he can get.
I wonder if I could be along with him.
Well, if you want to chance it. He gets a mite peevish at times. We think it's on account of the indigestion.
I'm not worried. Somehow I get the feeling that underneath this frightening-looking exterior, there's something almost human.
Me too, Chief, and I get the feeling he's trying to tell you something.
What's going on? Is Mr. Drysdale wanting his ape back? Just when we cured his dyspepsy, give him nice clothes and learn him to do something useful.
No. I'm trying to establish a rapport with him.
If he needs a rat, use this on him.
No, we'll get along just fine. Now, Miss Hathaway, I want you to take Granny and Mr. Clampett into the far end of the house, so my friend here will know I'm not afraid of him.
Well, I'll go along with that. Come on, Granny. Oh, by the way, his name is Herbie.
And don't turn your back on him. I still ain't forgot the clout on the noggin he give me.
Tommy, you struck that poor little old lady.
That poor little old lady gave me a shot in the mouth that loosened my teeth. Now, you give me my money. I'm getting out of here.
No. Not until the job is finished.
The job is finished. Pay me. No.
Please, Tommy, listen.
Unless you give me my dough.
No. We made a deal, and you're a professional actor.
And I'm also a wood chopper. And a nurse made to a chip. And as soon as I get finishing ironing these flour sack drawers, that big goon Jethro's gonna hook me up to a plow. And you know something? I gotta do all that on green leaves and possum broth.
You let them bluff you. Frighten them. Beat your chest.
Every time I beat my chest, that little old lady beats me.
Oh, don't be such a baby.
Look, Mr. Drysdale, I need money for new teeth. Unless you pay me, I'm gonna use yours.
Your money's at the bank.
I'll see.
Now, just hold it, Kelly. If you walk out of me right now, you'll have a suit on your hands.
Oh. Here. Now, you got a suit in your hands. Now, keep plowing, Herbie.
Howdy, mister. Have you seen anything of Gorilla?
Yeah, he's right in the kitchen there.
Herbie! Hey, Herbie! Herb!
Jethro,
Yeah, Ellie, what do you want?
have you seen Herbie?
No, I'm looking for him, too, and I better find him before Granny does.
What do you mean?
Well, he don't...
Tired of folks being mean to my monkey.
Well, he ain't your monkey, Ellie.
He is so.
He ain't neither.
He is.
He ain't.
Maybelle found him.
Herbie, you get into these overhauls. You got plowing to do.
You leave him be.
Come back here with Mr. Drysdale's hat!
That's Herbie.
He stole Mr. Drysdale's hat.
Mr. Kelly, what is...
Shut up and get in.
Shame! It's all right, don't worry.
Well, Granny, he wasn't much at ironing, but he drives a car real good.
Yonder goes Herbie.
Come back. Let him go. Good riddance.
Does appear we got a hold to a bad ape. Had a real thieving streak.
I like you, Pa, and so did Maybelle.
Me too.
Please, Pa, we want a gorilla.
Yeah.
Well, I reckon we hadn't ought to judge a whole patch by one bad melon. Jethro, fetch the truck around.
Well, where are we going?
To the zoo.
Excuse me, Chief, but how long since you talked to the Clampetts?
I can't get an answer up there. Why?
Oh, well, I don't know if there's any connection, but I just heard a news flash. A wild gorilla has escaped from the zoo.
Come on. Let him in here.
Doggy Granny, Miss Jean wasn't fooled when she said this rascal was stronger than 12 men.
And if we ever get him calmed down, he's going to be a wood-chopping, plow-pulling son of a gun.
Stop that bellowing, you ungrateful goober. We took you out of the zoo. You ought to be glad. I said stop it. Turn him loose. Now, come over here and sit down. I'm going to give you some possum soup.
Granny and that ape are at it again.
I thought I told you to call the zoo to come get that thing.
But I did. They said they had to fetch along a bunch of police and tranquilizer guns and stuff.
He is a stout rascal. Come on.
Aha! Now I got ya. Stop that bellowing, you ungrateful goober. We took you out of the cage at the zoo, fetched you home, give you nice clothes, and now you're balked at doing a few chores. Get to the kitchen and mop that floor. Aha! Now you're going to... Let me go!
Sounds like she caught him.
Let me go!
Or he caught her.
Let go or I'll tear the hair off your head! Had enough?
You didn't hurt my gorilla, did you, Granny?
You fetch him back and I'll fan his tail till he lights up like a lightning bug.
Granny, you and that ape best call it a draw. You kicked him down the cellar steps, he throwed you through the door. Keep this up and somebody's gonna get hurt.
Hey! Here comes 3 cars full of police.
Oh, they's fixing to shoot my gorilla.
Fetch the shotgun, I'll hold them off.
Police use tranquilizer guns to calm him down.
Let's see, can we get him to take a shot at Granny?
Whose side are you on?
Not me, everybody. I say we as well rid of that bad-tempered varmint.
Well, I got to admit he ain't as much fun as Herbie.
Yeah, that first gorilla Mr. Drysdale sent over was a dandy.
Yeah, I'll say. Well, he was chopping wood
Washing and ironing.
And looking after my credit.
and digging taters.
He did take the chores real good.
Please, Pa, let's get Herbie back.
Yeah, let's get him back.
All right, I'll call Mr. Drysdale.
You heard me, Herbie. You're going back to the Clampetts.
No thanks, Mr. Drysdale.
What do you mean, no thanks? Why'd you bring the gorilla suit?
To show you the damage from the last visit. These hands used to be the same color as that face.
Oh, what did that?
Granny's Lysol.
Well, don't wash your hands.
That's from washing clothes.
Oh, a little shoe polish will fix it. Now, come on.
No thanks. That suit's too hot. And Jethro would maybe chop 2 cords of wood, dig 5 bushels of potatoes, and haul a whole
Tommy, boy, that's good for you. You're putting it on in a few places.
Every place but my wallet.
Oh, I see. Money towards, eh? How about that?
You're whispering.
All right. Here's, $200.
No thanks.
I'll double it for you.
You will?
Yes. Here.
Forget it.
Yeah, you're right. Do it for kicks.
I've had my kicks. Every time I growled, Granny would lay those big army boots right here.
Miss Mr. Clampett and Ellie May are here to see you.
Oh, my gosh. Hide this suit.
Tommy, have a heart. Jake Clampett has more than $60 million in my bank. If he finds out that Herbie wasn't a real gorilla, I'll lose it.
In other words, this whole thing is money in your pocket.
Tommy, would I send you back to the Clampetts just for money?
Mr. Drysdale, for money, you'd send Custer back to the Indians.
Drysdale.
Just a minute, Mr. Clampett. Come in. Come in.
Mr. Drysdale. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you had company.
It's quite all right, Mr. Clampett. Oh, I want you and your lovely daughter to meet this wonderful gentleman, Mr. Thomas F. Kelly. F for faithful. Never betrays a friend.
Howdy, Mr. Kelly. I'm pleased to shake your hand. This here's my daughter, Ellie Mae.
Howdy.
Hi.
Where's Miss Jane?
Where did she go? Oh, there she is. Okay, take your coffee break.
Well, I didn't see her slip out there.
Awfully thin girl.
Mr. Kelly, sorry to bust in on you like this. You a banker?
No, I'm a gorilla.
He means he's in the gorilla business. This is the man who owns Herbie.
Do tell.
Where is he, Mr. Kelly?
I'm afraid Herbie's retired.
Oh, gee.
That's too bad.
But we can wake him up. He's retired, sleeping right in here. Wake up, Herbie! There's somebody here to see you. Get ready and come out, you sweet old gorilla.
Just a minute, Mr. Drysdale.
Oh, now, Tommy, relax. He wants Herbie to get his beauty sleep.
As I recollect, looked like he could use some.
We haven't made a deal. We will. Greatest guy in the world. One of nature's noblemen, Thomas F. Kelly. F for fair. Wouldn't think of overcharging a friend. Oh.
Howdy, Herbie.
Hello, Herbie boy.
Oh, Herbie's just wasted away to skin and bone.
It does appear his hide has some slack in it.
Pining away for you folks.
You're coming with us, Herbie.
Is it all right?
Sure, take her home.
Her?
Oh, I mean Ellie with the gorilla.
Come on, Herbie.
We take you home and fatten you up on some of Granny's possum soup.
Mr. Drysdale and I have some business to conclude before Herbie can leave.
We'll conclude it. Just as sure as this man's name is Thomas F. Kelly. F for fabulous. Do anything for a friend.
Fine. That mean gorilla we fetched home from the zoo kind of tore up Herbie's working clothes.
Well, if he comes, I'll see that he gets clothes.
Good, because Granny just can't abide a bare ape.
And they won't be work clothes, and you'll buy them.
Listen, Tommy, I don't need you. I'll buy my own costume and put Miss Hathaway in it. You make a great gorilla.
Gee, that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. I wouldn't wear one of these if it got me a proposal from Tarzan.
That's true, Hathaway. Are two of my dearest friends going to desert me in my hour of need?
Like you said, banker, money talks. But this time, let's hear it loud and clear.
How's that?
Keep talking.
Thomas F. Kelly. F for fake. F for finagler. F for flim-flammer.
How would you like F for fist?
Okay, but that's all you get. I need the rest of this to buy you clothes. Now, let's go.
You want to see me, Granny?
Yeah, Jed. Do you reckon the gorillas like hoe cakes and sorghum?
Well, I don't hardly see how that could happen. Why, yes.
Well, Ellie says that Herbie has thinned down a lot. And I thought I'd try and fatten him up with some hoe cakes and sorghum and my special puree of possum.
Take it kind of easy on that rich food, Granny. Them gorillas seem to suffer a heap from heartburn.
Yeah. Even that ornery one that we fetched home from the zoo, he went around thumping himself.
They is a gassy bunch.
This is ridiculous. The Clampetts are expecting a gorilla, not King Farouk. That did it. Step out here and I'll wipe up the ground with you, you miserable.
Chief, you paid $300 for those clothes he's wearing.
And I've got another 300 in that basket of gourmet food and vintage champagne.
Now, in all fairness, you did agree to Mr. Kelly's terms. He's to have special food and special treatment, and he's only to stay as long as he enjoys himself.
You got me over a barrel now, Kelly, but you wait.
And that's another thing, Chief. In front of the Clampetts, remember to call him Herbie.
How did he get that stupid name?
It seems that Jethro did some research in the gorilla because he eats only vegetation is called herbivorous. So to them, he's Herbie.
Herbie?
Right. Herbie, herbivorous.
Oh, hi, Mr. Drysdale. Miss Jane?
Did you bring, Is this Herbie?
That's him.
Dog as he is, dressed fit to kill.
Remember that.
Hey, everybody, Herbie's here.
Mr. Clampett, what happened to the door?
Oh, Granny and that gorilla from the zoo had a little ruckus. Say, Herbie, that could be your first job, helping me to fix the door. What's this?
Oh, that's a list of things Mr. Kelly, Herbie doesn't like to do.
Where's Herbie? Herbie, don't you look grand? Why, you ain't skinny no more.
He does appear to have fleshed out some since we seen him at the office.
Well, you see, Herbie just had a tremendous meal.
Well, if it's grass and leaves again, he ain't fat. He's just bilious. Yeah, you wait and see. We'll be up all night with him walking the floor while he thumps himself.
Granny's got a special treat for you. Whole cake, sorghum, and pureed possum.
Herbie's on a special diet. Mr. Kelly sent along a hamper of food.
Oh, let me give you a hand.
Who's Mr. Kelly?
Well, he's the man who owns Herbie.
Ain't my riddles good enough for his dooted-up ape?
Oh, yeah, too good. You see, Herbie's not used to such rich, delicious food.
Well, he'll need something to stick to his ribs when he's done with his chores. Don't you shake your head at me. I still got that hickory stick.
Now, Granny, don't go to squabbling right off.
All right. Who's some suitcase?
Oh, this is Herbie's. He brought along some sports clothes.
Sport clothes?
Yes, Bermuda shorts and other casual attire. He's quite fond of fun and games.
And by the way, Granny, can Herbie have a room of his own?
Would you like to go swimming in the cement pond, Herbie? Do you know how to swim? Well, you might learn how if you watch me. Would you like that?
You ain't gonna get no work out of that playboy ape. Did you get a good look at the duds he's wearing?
It wasn't exactly work clothes.
Why, he looks like a hairy diamond Jim Brady.
It's F. Kelly, F for freeloader. Look at this caviar, broiled snails, pickled mushrooms, aged camembert cheese, chilled crab, vintage champagne.
There's no use getting upset. You've only yourself to blame for this.
Yes, you're right. I should have left you in the gorilla suit.
I'm not big enough.
Well, you would be after this $300 snack. Look at that Kelly.
Herbie.
Herbie, sure. Disgusting.
See that, Herbie? That's sweet. So are you. You want me to swim some more?
Don't look, Chief. It will only aggravate you.
This is too much. I wonder what the sentence would be for murdering a gorilla.
Now, Chief, there's a man in that suit.
Luncheon is served, Herbert.
want you drinking none of that gassed-up cider. Let's go in the house.
Well, Herbie and me was fixing to have victuals.
Granny has got your lunch in the kitchen.
Well, I'd rather eat here.
Granny ain't in the mood for no more turn-downs. Now, scoot. Do like I say.
Yes, sir, Paul.
Herbie, I'll give you a little advice. Man to monkey. You don't push Granny about as far as she'll push. Any more, and she'll turn your hide as pink as them rompers.
Bye, Granny. I'll see you later.
Are you hungry?
Starving. The sight of all that delicious food has made me ravenous.
Yeah. There ain't nothing tastier than puree of possum. Sit down, have some.
No, wait a minute. I didn't mean... Oh, no,
Pity I cooked up pretty near 3 gallons. Figured the gorilla for a whole gallon, but he's got his own kettle.
Well, you see, that's just it. I promised Herbie I would eat with him out by the pool.
Are you saying you'd rather eat with that ape than me?
Oh, no, of course not.
Are you saying that his victuals is better than mine?
Granny, there's nothing in the world like your puree of possum. Believe me.
Sit down. You can have the 8 gallon. Oh, Ellie, I'm going out to find Jed. Here, you dish up Mr. Drysdale a great big heaping hepping of possum. And make sure he gets plenty of giblets. Maybe you'll get the left hind foot. That's good luck. Jed, come in and sit to the table with Mr. Drysdale. We'll let that stuck-up gorilla eat by himself.
Now, Granny, before you go to bad-mouthing Herbie anymore, there's something you want to know. Now, Mr. Kelly that owns him has got to take a lot of the blame.
What you mean? He buys some fancy clothes.
Yeah, but he sure skimps on the victuals. You wouldn't believe what he's got that poor ape eating.
What?
Snails, toadstools, spiders.
No.
Yeah,
Spiders?
great big red ones. He was sitting there cracking their bones trying to get at the marrow.
That's terrible.
But where he really saved money was on the cheese.
Bad, was it?
Boiled rotten. If Herbie hadn't had the wind at his back, he'd never got it up to his mouth.
I hate to see an animal mistreated.
Me too. Granny, I got a notion. Why don't we buy Herbie from Mr. Kelly?
By dingies, I like that. We'll get him into some good work clothes and make a self-respecting ape out of him. Don't deny it. You were sneaking back for seconds.
Yes, that's it.
Granny will fetch it. Come sit down. I want to talk to you.
Oh, what about?
Well, could you bring that Mr. Kelly over?
Mr. Kelly?
Yeah, I want to talk to him about buying Herbie.
I don't think he'd sell. He's really wrapped up in that gorilla.
You just get him here. I'll talk to him.
Well, that's going to take a little thought.
Here, you can eat while you're thinking.
My doggy, she gave you seconds, thirds, and fourths.
The left hind foot is in this batch.
Thanks, I'm going to need it.
34. Leads his flank to the right. Coil split to the left. There's the snap. It's back.
Now listen, Kelly, we've got a problem. Don't shush me, fatso. While you were gorging yourself on caviar and crab, I had to choke down your gallon of possum puree. Well, at least I can get rid of the taste.
What's the big problem?
The problem is Jed Clampett wants to talk to Tom Kelly.
No problem. I take off the suit.
He wants to talk to you about buying Herbie.
Still no problem. I take it off, you put it on. Clampett makes me an offer, I turn him down.
Great. Then you put me in the car, take me away, and we'll be through with this whole miserable business forever. Oh, Tommy, baby, I love you. Now, come on. We can change in my garage next door, and you take my car.
We're doing all the work, and that lazy good-for-nothing ape is strutting around like a movie star.
Things is going to change, Jethro. I'm fixing to buy that rascal.
Herbie?
Quick as he's ours, we'll break him of them bad habits. Well, here's Mr. Kelly now. Howdy.
Well, Mr. Clampett, Mr. Drysdale said you wanted to see me.
That's right. This here is Granny.
Howdy.
My nephew Jethro.
Howdy.
Of course, you know Herbie.
Sure.
I wouldn't hug him if he fed me spiders.
Well, Mr. Kelly, I'll come right to the point. We'd like to buy Herbie.
Oh, Mr. Clampett, I couldn't sell this wonderful animal. Besides, gorillas are very expensive.
How expensive?
Oh, I'd have to charge you $10,000 for this fine animal.
I'll pay it.
10,000?
Yes, you're on the barrelhead. If there is more than that there, just keep the change.
So.
Well, Herbie, you got a good home.
And good giggles.
Yeah, and chores to do. Here, get to work.
Well, there's the first bad habit to break him of, chasing cars.
You called me, Granny? Yes, Ellie. Guard my soap kettle. I want to go out front and check the barricade. Listen, Granny. How dare them politicians accuse me of creating smog?
That's Sam Hill. Well, this wasn't here when I left this morning.
Drop your gun and reach for the sky. Drop it and reach.
You tell me what's going on here.
Give the password.
Tarnation, Granny.
That ain't it.
Enough of this foolishness.
Well, I had to make sure you weren't the enemy in disguise. When you're feuding, you can't be too careful.
Feuding? With who?
With the Beverly Hills smog goomers. And I didn't start it either. Here, read that.
You are hereby notified.
It says when I make soap in my kettle out back, that I am creating a smog hazard.
You will immediately cease.
It says if I don't stop making soap, I'm going to get arrested by the smog commissioner.
The violation of the
When
above.
the Beverly Hills say I can't make soap, then I say it's time to fight. Well, ain't you going to read it?
Yeah, when my eyeballs stop bouncing.
Jed, don't tear it down.
Talking, not shooting, is a way to settle these things.
Jed, we can't let them stop me making soap.
Well, I aim to see about that. Now, you tell Jethro to come out here and help me take this down.
He can't. He's busy making a feud.
Granny, have you got that boy all steamed up thinking there's going to be a feud?
I can't remember whether I mentioned it to him or not.
Hey, take a look at our feud tags.
I guess I did mention it to him. But, Jed, the right to make soap is one of the 4 freedoms, and we can't let it get trumped on.
Granny, there ain't going to be no feuding.
You just trumped on another one.
Hey, boy, lift this up.
I can't.
What do you mean you can't?
Fooled you. Take a look. I got levers hooked up to the shifts on the pedals so that I can drive and shoot from in here.
What do you do but steering?
Oh, this here's a tank, Uncle Jed. It ain't got none of them luxury extras.
Come on out of there, boy.
Yes, sir, Uncle Jed. As soon as I find the opening.
Jed, if I can't cook up my homemade lye soap, I'd just as soon die.
Granny, I told you I was going to talk to somebody. Jethro?
Uncle Jed?
What is it, boy?
The steering weren't the only luxury extra I forgot.
What was the other one?
The door.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir. I'm sure.
I'll go around back and fetch you a crowbar.
And Jed, we don't need no tank. Just one look at my shotgun and that smog commissioner will back right off.
Granny, go out in the kitchen and get you a nice cool glass of buttermilk. There ain't gonna be no feuding.
Granny, whilst I'm waiting, I'd sure like a cold glass of that buttermilk. Of course, I'm gonna need an extra long straw.
Looks like a barricade, Commissioner.
Yes, when Mrs. Drysdale filed the complaint, she warned me to expect anything.
I'd better handle the inspection.
No. You know, there's an election coming up, and I'd better do a couple of these myself.
Rough one, it's 402.
I know. Open wood fire with acrid fumes. Well, I'm going out in it.
Go ahead, Commissioner. Don't be a hero.
Everybody knows the talking comes after the fighting, not before. Smugglers.
You might need this fire extinguisher.
Thank you.
And, Commissioner, good luck.
That's the ugliest varmint I ever did see. Where's the shot? Come in, honey.
Mr. Clampett?
Drop it! That'll learn you to mess around with the four freedoms!
Margaret, what do you mean Tinsley's going to stop the Clampetts from making soap? I thought you contributed $500 to his re-election campaign. That's why he's doing it. Miss Hathaway, get this jerk Tinsley on the phone for me. And when I stop him, I'll be home and talk to you.
Chief.
Don't chief me. Get him on the phone. Why, the cheap, double-crossing, two-bit ward healer.
But Chief.
Show me this Commissioner Tinsley, and I'll show you a fathead.
I'm Commissioner Tinsley.
I'm a fathead.
What's that?
Oh, Miss Hathaway was just showing me how well you'd look in a mustache. Quite becoming. Erase this, Miss Hathaway.
I'll come right to the point. I understand J.D. Clampett is a client of yours.
He certainly is. Oh, I just remembered. I have here a $600 contribution for your re-election campaign.
Well, now that's very public-spirited of you, Mr. Drysdale. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. Now, I'm sure you want to forget all about the Clampetts and this silly soap making.
No, I won't.
What?
Not only are they contributing to smog, but just a short time ago I got chased from their house at gunpoint, threatened with a crowbar, and grabbed by their pet gorilla.
Well, I admit they're not much at entertaining.
Listen, Drysdale, if these people don't cease all burning immediately and destroy their soap-making apparatus, I'll make sure they're thrown into jail.
Wait a minute, Commissioner.
That's all I gotta say. Goodbye.
What about my contribution?
Oh, say thank you again.
Chief, the Clampetts are here.
Kid, there ain't no time to sit around and jaw. We gotta commence the attack.
I'm sorry to cause all this ruckus, but Granny here is about to start a feud with the whole county of Beverly Hills.
What?
They may have us outnumbered, but we got a cause. The right to make soap.
Now, wait. If you'll just give me a chance to see the commissioner again and discuss this. Sure.
Drysdale, nobody hates feuding worse than I do. I tried to talk to him, but he wouldn't have no truck with me. I don't know what to do.
He'll listen if our shotguns do the talking.
Granny, Mr. Clampett, if I may interpose a note of reason, in a democratic society, there are established ways to redress our grievances with public officials.
I already gave him $600.
Referring to the ballot box. Mr. Tinsley is running for re-election. I suggest you participate in the campaign and attempt to defeat him on Election Day.
You mean me run for smog commissioner?
Well, actually, I meant to...
We know what you meant. It's Mr. Clampett's civic duty to run. And it's certainly better than feuding. Isn't it, Miss Hathaway?
Well, it ain't better, but at least it's some kind of a fight.
Hold on now. I appreciate the thought, but old stump kicker like me couldn't win no election.
Oh, nonsense. Even if you don't win, you'll have gotten your issue before the people.
Yes, the right to make soap.
Hey, Uncle Jed, I'm back and we got this election in the bag.
Now, take it easy. The only reason I'm doing this is to save Granny from Beverly Hills and Beverly Hills from Granny.
Well, wait till you see what I got for the campaign. You're going to be a shoo-in whether you like it or not.
The only thing that matters is keeping Granny's mind off her shotgun. Thank goodness it seems to be doing that.
Jed, I'm ready to go.
Granny, I thought we was going to win this feud with votes.
We are, but this is for them that ain't got a clear view of the issue.
It stays here. I'm getting my votes like every other politician.
You mean we're gonna buy them?
No, but Jethro's got a dandy idea for drawing a crowd, and we're
Uncle
going
Jed, here's your campaign manager with the posters hot off the press.
Let's take a look.
Jethro Bodine says, vote for Jed Clampett.
What kind of election poster is that?
That's the only picture I could find.
Aren't you kind of tooting the wrong horn?
What you mean?
Well, shouldn't my name be at the top?
Oh, I got one of them, too.
Vote for Jed Clampett for Smog Commish. Jethro Bodine, campaign manager.
Some old printer run out of room.
Really, Chief, don't you think it's about time you started going to a barber shop for your haircuts?
Well, what's wrong with this? I say the $2.50 and give you the tip.
Yes, 15 cents.
Ah, don't forget the nickel I give you for the shoe shine. The sideburns a little longer this time. I feel kind of sporty after solving a major crisis like the Clampetts.
You have not solved it. You have merely postponed it.
Oh, no. By election day, Granny will be sick of the whole issue and glad to forget about blowing up the county building.
Yes, but what about Mr. Clampett? He thinks he's running for smog commissioner.
Oh, so they put up a poster or two. At least they're staying out of trouble.
Well, I think it's the wrong way to handle a matter.
Miss Hathaway, I can't stand a barber who talks all the time. It's a beautiful day. There's a band concert in the park across the street. Wait a minute. What park?
What band?
Folks, neighbors.
Excuse me, Uncle Jed. That folks and neighbors just ain't got no class. You give me a little while, I'll write you a real speech.
Mr. Clampett, what are you doing?
Well, we're campaigning, Mr. Drysdale. Gee, I hope we didn't interrupt your lunch.
Boy, you sure must be a sloppy eater.
Yes,
We heard you praying and came right down.
we're drumming up a crowd so Jed can say a speech.
And it's heartwarming to see how the people's ready to support me.
They are?
Why, every time we play, folks try to drop money in my tambourine.
But we don't need it. Jed stands ready to sink all of his $62 million in this campaign.
All right, hit it. We've got to get them off the street. They'll be arrested.
Perhaps if we suggested a campaign rally.
Good idea. Mr. Clampett, you ought to start your campaign with a rally. You know, a speaker stand, flags, crowds, the works.
Well, all right, Mr. Drysdale, if you don't mind us stopping traffic along here.
Oh, not here.
At your house, to show them you're a homeowner and a family man.
Yes.
Hey, that sounds like a good idea, Uncle Jed. I'm his campaign manager.
That might be fun at that. Well, don't you worry about it, Mr. Drysdale. We'll take care of everything. You just go back to your spaghetti or whatever it was you was about to eat.
Now you run along. There ain't nothing worse than cold spaghetti.
When do you want to have a rally, Paul?
This afternoon, Ellie.
I'll get some sheets to hang on the side of the tank. I mean the truck. And Jethro can print on them.
Well, Ellie can do that, Granny. I just thought of a way to tell the whole city about the rally on one poster.
One poster.
Where are you going to put it?
Up there. I'm going to skyride it.
Well, if it ain't the nice Commissioner Tinsley.
Now, see here, little lady.
Oh, I'm awful sorry about this morning, but I want to talk to you about the election.
Oh, that's why I've come up to this zoo again. I've heard that Mr. Clampett is running, and I want to tell him that it hasn't changed my position on soap making one bit.
Well, Jed's out back.
Well, then you tell him. He's wasting his time.
Oh, now don't yell and drain me. Oh, I'm sure you have a nice little old mama just like me somewhere.
Hardly. Your gorilla escaped.
Oh, that's Jethro, my grandnephew's invention. He's a genius, you know. Has a lot of levers and such, all rigged up so he can drive it from in there.
Really?
Take a look. It's fascinating. Where does your dear old mama live, Mr. Commissioner?
Des Moines, Iowa.
Oh, my. And how long has it been since you've seen her dear, sweet face?
Been over a year.
Oh, that long. How would you like to take a trip to Iowa and visit her till after the election?
What? I'll see her.
Jethro will drive you as soon as he gets back.
Granny! Commissioner!
Why, Commissioner, what were you doing in there?
Why, I don't know. Rally today. So that's it, eh? Thought you'd get some publicity at my expense. Well, it won't work. And as soon as I defeat you at the polls, I'll get the smog control to raid this place.
Granny, you shouldn't have done that.
It was for his dear, sweet mama. She'd have been so happy.
What do you see, Chief?
Just some skywriting plane spelling out Jeth. Probably some new diet drink.
Oh, let me see.
Now, forget it. You've got a big problem on your hands.
I?
Getting me out of the mess I'm in. How could I know that Jed Clampett was actually going to campaign?
Well, as long as he is, why not try to shape him into a somewhat acceptable candidate?
Are you kidding? He's not political material. He's honest, straightforward, trustworthy. What kind of a politician would that make? And he has no sophistication. He's just a rail splitter, born in a log cabin.
Isn't his similarity to Lincoln amazing?
Who?
The man on the $5 bill.
Oh, yeah, Lincoln! What about him?
I was just saying that Mr. Clampett has a great deal in common with him.
Yes, he has. See, I wonder if with the right public relations...
Oh, Chief, I didn't mean...
No, wait, you hit on something. We can play up the log cabin, the rail splitting, the honesty bit. Oh, what a campaign!
For a small commissioner?
Oh, that's only the beginning. With this gimmick, there's no telling how far he can go. Mayor, state senate, governor's mansion.
Chief.
From there, it's only a hop to the White House. Honest Jed Clampett, President of the United States. And I'll be right there beside him, Secretary of the Treasury. The Mint is my playground. A summer home at Fort Knox.
Now, lie down. Let me put this bag of silver dollars on your forehead.
Well, I reckon we better forget about having the rally today.
Yeah, you ain't gonna get no big crowds with that.
Jethro's lost without an eraser.
Don't nobody say nothing.
Now, hold on, boy. You done your best.
Dumb old pilot. He weren't no help spelling at all. Couldn't draw neither.
Don't take it so hard. We'll have that rally.
Yeah, but I was all ready for it today. Done got a speech wrote up for you and everything.
Ellie Mae, go and see, can you cheer him up?
Yes, sir, Pop. Let's hear the speech, Jed.
All right. Looks like a dandy. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ear.
Mr. President.
Chief, remember, small commissioner first. Did you have your rally?
Well, we wanted to, but nobody got the word.
Oh, what happened?
Them ain't thunderclouds up there.
Well, we're going to have it. Jethro'll be heartbroken if we don't.
Mr. Clampett, you're going to be on television. We've arranged for a great debate with Tinsley.
Well, good. I got a dandy speech here.
No. This is a debate, and I know just how we can nail him.
I had him nailed in the back of the truck.
What were you saying, Mr. Drysdale?
Anti-smog devices.
During Commissioner Tinsley's 3 years in office, he failed to come up with a single device to eliminate contaminants from automobile exhausts.
Well, I hope that ain't part of the job. I couldn't build one neither.
No. I meant...
I bet Jethro could.
Yeah, I'm going to put him on that. He's a genius when it comes to inventing things.
Good. Well, I'll pick you up tomorrow for the debate. Oh, and I have some things in the car for you. Help me, Miss Hathaway.
I hope you get to say your speech.
So do I. Listen to this. Soap by any other name would smell as sweet.
That's beautiful. Jed, it's almost time to go to the TV studio.
We're all ready to go.
Well, you've been primping them long enough.
Granny, may I present the next small commissioner of the county of Beverly Hills? Wonderful. All we need now is a beard.
Drysdale, I don't want to wear this.
I'll get it.
But you must. It's all a part of the campaign. How do you do, Granny?
Ah, it's the small boomer. Everybody out there, we gotta protect the soap. Keep the old fire burning.
Now, hold on, Tinsley.
What is this? I just came over to offer Mr. Clampett one last chance before the debate to withdraw from the race.
Running scared, eh? Now that you're up against Honest Jed.
I ain't gonna do it. I don't care if it costs me the election. I can't try to be somebody I ain't.
But, Uncle Jed, we got the election in the bag. I done invented a small device small enough to fit on any car.
What?
I never saw one that small. Why, that's amazing.
I tested it. It works. This is without my device, and this here is with it.
Filled it completely. What a breakthrough.
I'll pull the truck up front and demonstrate it for you.
We'll make a fortune.
Now, wait, Mr. Drysdale. If it's good for folks, we'll want to give it to the country.
Yeah?
Well, that's wonderful. In return, I'll allow Granny to make her soap.
What are you talking about? Mr. Clampett's gonna be the new small commissioner.
Oh, no, Mr. Drysdale. If Mr. Tinsley will allow Granny to make her soap, he's got my vote.
No!
I never cared about running no house.
It's a deal, then.
Okay, Mr. Tinsley. Ready to put my device on the truck.
Ah, you're a genius. Building a workable device this small.
Oh, the device weren't nothing. The real problem was making the filter.
Filter? That's the filter?
Yeah, you ought to see it before I got it down to size.
Great Scott.
And you ought to hear the speech he wrote. Fourscore and 7 years.
Simplicity and urban pretension with the consistent warmth and comic precision of the Beverly Hillbillies. The composite script under consideration drawn from the show's 5th season opens with a sequence that immediately re-establishes the series' central comic engine, the Clampett family's unshakable moral clarity set against the 5th C, anxious money-driven world of Beverly Hills. The very first lines, "Congratulations, Lieutenant, you've apprehended the most vicious criminal," since Jesse James, place the viewer squarely inside a world where exaggerated praise and understated integrity trade places with delightful frequency. Mr. Drysdale, ever the anxious guardian of the Clampett fortune, greets the capture of Colonel Foxhall with a mixture of relief and theatrical excess that Raymond Bailey delivers with his trademark blend of pomposity and panic. The banker's insistence that the lieutenant receive one of our new calendars rather than any substantial reward is a masterstroke of character comedy. In a single exchange, the series reminds us that Drysdale's generosity is always measured in promotional items rather than genuine largesse, a running joke that had already become beloved by the mid-1960s audience. Buddy Ebsen's Jed Clampett remains as always the quiet moral center. When Drysdale attempts to inflate the importance of the capture, Jed's quiet refusal of any reward, "Just doing my job, Mr. Drysdale," carries the weight of an entire ethical code. Ebsen's deadpan delivery, that soft Ozark cadence never rising into indignation, allows the humor to bloom around him rather than from him. The camera one imagines would linger on his calm face while the more frantic characters orbit him, creating the visual and emotional balance that defined the series at its best. The script's early dialogue is rich with the kind of overlapping misunderstanding that Paul Henning and his writers perfected. Miss Hathaway, played by the incomparable Nancy Culp, is instructed to see that this fine detective receives one of our new calendars. Her obedient "all right, Foxy" is quickly corrected by the captured colonel himself, who insists upon the full grandeur of his title, "Foxhole, sir." Colonel Guy Lord Mayweather Foxhole. The rapid-fire mangling of the name Foxhole Colonel Baloney establishes within seconds the comic chaos that will dominate the next several scenes. Each mispronunciation is not merely a joke but a small act of cultural translation. The Clampetts and their circle refuse to grant the criminal the dignity of a correctly spoken name, stripping him of pretension before the formal machinery of justice can even begin. The accusation that follows is classic Beverly Hillbillies exaggeration. Drysdale declares that the $1 million the colonel attempted to extract would have come from my bank, and believe me, that would have killed him. The hyperbole is pure 1960s sitcom gold, yet it also reveals something deeper about the character. Drysdale's identity is so thoroughly bound to the Clampett millions that any threat to that money is experienced as a threat to his very life. Bailey's performance. One suspects would have underscored the line with a hand clutched to the chest, eyes widening in genuine terror at the thought of financial hemorrhage. The physical comedy that erupts when Drysdale lunges at the prisoner, "Stand aside, you miserable money merchant," and is promptly restrained by Miss Hathaway, is equally revealing. The secretary's sharp command, "Control yourself, would you please?" and her subsequent order to drive him around the block till he cools off position her as the only adult in a room full of overgrown children. Culp's dry, slightly nasal delivery always suggested a woman who had long ago accepted that her employer required constant supervision, and the script gives her ample opportunity to demonstrate that weary competence. Attention then shifts to the still-at-large accomplice, the young woman who claimed to be Emmeline Fetty from back in the hills. The revelation of her true identity, Rita Rio, alias Country Kate, and the description of her as one of the cleverest girls in the whole extortion racket and a shameless Jezebel introduce a secondary antagonist whose sophistication stands in pointed contrast to the Clampett's straightforward honesty. The script's language here is deliberately archaic and moralistic, shameless Jezebel echoing the kind of rural preaching that Granny herself might deliver. Yet the audience is invited to enjoy the irony, the very qualities that make Rita dangerous in Beverly Hills. Her ability to perform innocence, to manipulate appearance, are precisely the skills the Clampetts lack and therefore cannot defend against until Jethro's peculiar genius intervenes later. The threat of mountain justice is raised with perfect comic timing. When the lieutenant warns that if the Clampetts find her first, she'll never make it to jail, the phrase "an eye for an eye" is spoken not with menace but with the casual certainty of people who still live by older codes. The series never treats that code as primitive. Instead, it presents it as an alternative moral system that, for all its roughness, possesses a clarity the urban characters have lost. The brief interlude with Duke the dog is a miniature masterpiece of physical and verbal comedy. Jethro's attempt to demonstrate that Drysdale's dog can sit up and speak collapses into a series of failed fetches and embarrassed explanations. "When I said that Mr. Drysdale's dog could speak, I didn't mean words. I meant whoops and barks and arf. Max Baer Jr.'s Jethro was always at his best when attempting to salvage dignity from absurdity, and the script gives him a perfect opportunity. The dog's refusal to perform becomes a quiet commentary on the limits of appearance versus reality, a theme that will resonate throughout the composite episodes as characters continually mistake costumes, accents, and titles for genuine substance. In the broader cultural context of the mid-1960s, when television was still the primary shared national experience, such moments of gentle failure humanized the Clampetts and invited viewers to laugh with them rather than at them. The rural family's inability to make a city dog perform on command is never framed as stupidity. It is framed as a difference in expectations. A difference the series consistently treats with affection. What makes this opening so effective is its careful layering of tone. The capture of a blackmailer could easily have been played for suspense or satire alone, yet the writers choose warmth. Even as Drysdale rages and the Colonel protests, the underlying rhythm remains that of a family comedy. Jed's quiet presence, Granny's eventual involvement, and Jethro's well-meaning incompetence all signal that justice in the Clampett world will never be purely institutional. It will be personal, improvisational, and ultimately merciful. The script's early insistence that the million-dollar blackmail scheme would have killed Drysdale is both comic hyperbole and a subtle reminder of the real economic power the Clampetts wield without ever fully understanding it. In 1966, when the series was still near the height of its popularity, American audiences were living through rapid social change. The expansion of suburbs, the rise of consumer culture, the first stirrings of environmental awareness that would later surface in the Soap and Smog plot. The Beverly Hillbillies offered a weekly reminder that older values of hospitality, plain speech, and personal honor could still disrupt the smooth machinery of modern life. The dialogue's musical quality deserves particular praise. The rapid exchange of titles, Colonel G. Lord Mayweather Foxhole, Colonel Baloney Foxhole, alias Freddy the Fox, creates a verbal cascade that feels almost musical in its repetition and variation. Each character's attempt to assert or deny identity becomes a small aria of confusion. When the lieutenant tries to clarify that he is Frank Richards, Lieutenant Frank Richards, the Clampetts hear only another alias. The joke is not that the mountain folk are too simple to understand official titles. The joke is that official titles have become so elastic in the urban world that they no longer carry reliable meaning. The series' gentle satire of class difference is already fully operational in these opening minutes. The Clampetts do not reject the law, they simply interpret it through a different lens, one in which a man's character is measured by his actions rather than his stationery. Performance implications are everywhere. One can almost see Raymond Bailey's Drysdale swelling with righteous indignation only to deflate when Miss Hathaway orders him driven around the block. Nancy Culp's precise, slightly exasperated timing would have given the scene its necessary counterweight. Buddy Ebsen's stillness, that famous ability to listen more eloquently than most actors speak, anchors the chaos. And somewhere in the background, one senses Irene Ryan's granny waiting to enter with her own brand of volcanic common sense. The script has not yet brought her fully onstage, but her presence is already felt in the talk of mountain justice and the promise of an eye for an eye. Historically, the mid-1960s sitcom operated under constraints of network standards that forbade genuine menace or moral ambiguity. The Beverly Hillbillies turned those constraints into strengths. By making its villains comic rather than threatening, the series could explore themes of greed, pretension, and cultural misunderstanding without ever losing its fundamental kindness. Colonel Foxhall is never truly dangerous. He is an opportunity for the Clampetts to demonstrate the superiority of their values. The calendar reward is not merely a cheap joke, it is a perfect emblem of Drysdale's world, a world in which even gratitude is monetized and branded. Against that world, the Clampetts stand as living reminders that some things, loyalty, honesty, the refusal to accept payment for doing right, cannot be calendared. As the opening sequence draws toward its transition into the accomplice plot, the script has already accomplished a remarkable amount of work. It has reintroduced the principal comic relationships, established the central conflict of blackmail and mistaken identity, and most importantly reaffirmed the series' deepest conviction that the Clampett family, for all their supposed simplicity, possesses a moral clarity that the sophisticated world around them continually fails to match. The capture of Colonel Foxhall is only the beginning. The real adventure, the transformation of a con artist, the arrival of a man in a gorilla suit, the battle over homemade soap, and the improbable political campaign still lies ahead. Yet already, the tone is set, the values are clear, and the audience is invited once more into a world where a calendar can serve as a reward, a dog's failure to speak becomes high comedy, and mountain justice remains a living possibility. In that invitation lies the enduring charm of the Beverly Hillbillies, a charm this composite script will continue to celebrate with unflagging affection and inventiveness. The composite script moves with seamless comic logic from the formal machinery of arrest into the intimate improvised world of the Clampett household, where the true heart of the Beverly Hillbillies has always resided. Having established the capture of Colonel Foxhall and the lingering threat of his accomplice, the narrative turns to a quiet hillside conversation that proves far more consequential than any courtroom drama. Emmeline, still believing herself safely hidden, whispers for help, and Jethro Bodine answers with the earnest goodwill that Max Baer Jr. made into an art form. "Help me over." "Where you been?" she asks, and his reply, "I've been hiding," immediately collapses the distance between predator and protector. In that single exchange, the series reminds its audience that in the Clampett universe, even a professional confidence woman can find herself temporarily adopted by the very family she intended to swindle. The revelation of her predicament is handled with characteristic gentleness. When Emmeline confesses that the police believe she was trying to trick the family out of money, Jethro's response is not suspicion but delighted recognition of a kindred spirit. "You a dumb old country girl," he observes, and her laughter, sure as that's a laugh, carries the first note of genuine connection. The script allows her a moment of self-deprecation that humanizes the character beyond the earlier labels of shameless Jezebel and cleverest girl in the whole extortion racket. She admits that everybody knows the Fetties was the dumbest, tackiest, homeliest bunch in the hills, and Jethro, far from agreeing, offers the kind of clumsy reassurance that only he could deliver for somebody to come from a box of calls. "You ain't such a mess." The line is pure Jethro malapropism, sincerity, and accidental poetry all at once. Max Baer Jr.'s gift was always the ability to make such verbal stumbles feel like the natural overflow of a generous heart rather than mere stupidity, and the script gives him rich material here. What follows is one of the most charming sequences in the entire composite. Jethro, settling himself to get my brain to clicken, declares that he thinks better sitting down and proceeds to invent almost by accident the perfect disguise. The audience learns that he has already solved the problem while talking in his sleep. Emmeline reports his nocturnal advice: since the police are looking for a dumb old country girl, she should sneak up the back stairs, put on one of the fancy dresses Ellie Mae gave her, and allow Jethro to learn me how to be a sophisticated city girl. The revelation that his best ideas arrive while unconscious is classic Beverly Hillbillies comedy, yet it also carries a quiet thematic weight. In a decade increasingly fascinated by expertise, credentials, and professional training, Jethro's unconscious competence stands as a gentle rebuke. Wisdom, the series suggests, does not always announce itself with diplomas. Sometimes, it arrives in dreams and is spoken aloud only by accident. The transformation lessons themselves are a masterclass in physical and verbal comedy. Jethro begins with diction. Let's hear you say the goo in the slough gets mainly in your shoe. Emmeline's obedient repetition is met with his proud assessment, I think you got it. You might find it hard to fit it into a conversation, especially during a dry spell. The line is exquisite. It acknowledges the practical uselessness of the exercise while celebrating the pure joy of instruction. Bear Jr. would have delivered it with the solemnity of a professor conferring a degree, and the imagined close-up on his earnest face would have sold the joke completely. The walking lesson that follows is equally delightful. When Emmeline protests that she already knows how to walk, Jethro draws the crucial distinction: you know how to walk country. I'm gonna learn you how to walk city. His demonstration presumably a stiff, exaggerated strut like a flat-footed goose on a hot rock. As he later describes it to Jed, invites the audience to visualize the physical comedy that was always one of the series' greatest strengths. Donna Douglas's Ellie Mae had already established the family's physical expressiveness. Now, Max Bear Jr. extends that tradition into the realm of deliberate self-improvement with results that are both ridiculous and oddly touching. The search for a new name becomes a cascade of comic invention. Emmeline rejects Alberta Fatty almost as soon as it is proposed. Jethro offers Chicago, then St. Louis, before she settles for the moment on the more elegant possibility of Boulevard. The exchange is rapid, musical, and completely in character. Each suggestion reveals something about the speaker. Jethro's mind leaps to places he has heard of but never seen, while Emmeline's practicality keeps pulling the conversation back toward usefulness. When she asks whether she might pull a job, get a job at the bank, the self-correction is a small masterpiece of character writing. Even as she plans further deception, the Clampett influence is already softening her language. The script never allows her to remain a pure villain. Every scene with Jethro chips away at the professional hardness she brought from the extortion racket. Jethro's confidence reaches its comic peak when he assures her that Mr. Drysdale would never recognize her. Heck no. Well, I didn't even recognize you, and he ain't half as smart as me. The line is delivered without a trace of arrogance. It is simply the honest assessment of a young man who has never doubted his own gifts. In the broader cultural context of 1966, when American television was filled with images of polished professionals and self-made experts, Jethro's unself-conscious self-regard offered a different model of competence, one rooted in goodwill and improvisation rather than formal training. The series never mocks that confidence, it celebrates it. When Jethro later announces to Uncle Jed that he has decided on my life's calling and intends to open me up a charm school, the declaration feels like the natural culmination of everything that has come before. He has taken a poor dumb old country gal and turned her into a regular fatabara. The invented word is perfect, half fatale, half pure Jethro, and entirely sincere. The conversation with Jed that follows is a quiet showcase for Buddy Ebsen's gifts. Jed listens with the same patient attention he gives every family scheme, neither encouraging nor dismissing, simply allowing Jethro the dignity of his ambition. When Jethro describes the transformation, I learned her to dress fancy, talk city, and strut around like a flat-footed goose on a hot rock, Ebsen's reaction would have been the smallest of smiles, the kind that conveys both amusement and pride. The script's decision to have Jethro almost reveal Emmeline's identity only to be interrupted by Duke's barking is a neat piece of comic timing. The dog that earlier refused to speak now becomes the instrument that protects the secret, a small irony that the series delights in. What elevates this entire section beyond simple farce is the emotional undercurrent. Emmeline begins the scene as a hunted professional. By its end, she has been temporarily claimed by the Clampett ethos of mutual aid. Jethro's offer of help is never calculated. It is the same instinct that leads him to teach a chimpanzee to chop wood or to invent a tank with no door. The script allows us to see the first cracks in her criminal armor. When she thanks him and admits that she kind of like him, the moment is played with enough sincerity that the audience cannot dismiss it as pure manipulation. In a decade when many comedies treated romance as either pure sentiment or pure cynicism, the Beverly Hillbillies found a third path: affection that grows out of shared absurdity and remains tinged with the possibility of genuine change. The historical resonance is worth lingering over. 1966 was a year of accelerating social transformation. civil rights struggles, the escalating conflict in Vietnam, the first widespread questioning of traditional gender roles. Against that turbulent backdrop, a story about a young man teaching a young woman how to perform sophistication carried unexpected weight. Jethro's lessons are comic, yet they also enact a kind of cultural translation that many Americans were performing in their own lives as rural populations moved to cities and older ways of speaking and moving were gradually replaced by newer, more polished codes. The series never mourns that transformation. It simply observes it with affection and finds comedy in the gap between intention and execution. Performance details continue to reward close attention. One imagines Max Baer Jr.'s physical commitment to the walking lesson, the exaggerated hip movement, the careful placement of each foot, the proud glance over the shoulder to check Emmeline's progress. Donna Douglas is not yet central to this particular sequence, yet her presence is felt in the mention of the fancy dresses she provided. The dresses themselves become quiet symbols. Ellie Mae's generosity supplies the costume that will allow a criminal to pass as respectable, an irony the series savors without ever becoming cynical. Irene Ryan's granny remains offstage for most of this section, but the audience already anticipates her reaction when she eventually discovers the transformation and later undoes it with characteristic thoroughness in the cellar. The charm school declaration that closes this portion of the narrative is more than a punchline. It is Jethro's attempt to turn a single successful experiment into a vocation, and in that ambition the series reveals one of its deepest truths. The Clampetts do not merely survive in Beverly Hills, they continually attempt to improve it according to their own lights. Jethro's School of Charm is only the latest in a long line of well-intentioned projects, oil companies, movie studios, restaurants, and now personal transformation. Each project fails in practical terms and succeeds in human ones. The real product is never the business itself but the relationships formed in the attempt. Emmeline leaves this sequence temporarily elevated, temporarily cared for, and temporarily unsure whether her old profession still fits. That uncertainty is the quiet victory of the Clampett way. As the script prepares to move into the broader confusion of identities and the eventual return of Colonel Foxhall, it has already accomplished something remarkable. It has taken a professional confidence woman and allowed her a brief sojourn inside a moral universe where help is offered without calculation and education is dispensed with joy rather than condescension. Jethro's Charm School may never enroll another student. Yet for one afternoon on a California hillside it existed in its purest form. One earnest young man teaching another human being how to walk, how to speak, and without quite realizing it, how to belong. In that modest miracle lies the continuing magic of the Beverly Hillbillies, a magic this composite script continues to renew with every scene. The composite script now gathers its principal players into the Clampett living room for one of the purest expressions of identity confusion the series ever achieved. The lieutenant arrives with the captured colonel, determined to secure a formal identification so that the machinery of justice may proceed. What follows is less a legal proceeding than a comic opera of names, titles, and fundamental misunderstandings, conducted with the unhurried certainty that only the Clampett family can bring to matters of official business. The scene opens with the colonel's desperate plea. "For the last time I implore you, do not summon Mr. Clampett to this door and unleash upon my snowy brow the fearful fury of mountain vengeance." The language is deliberately elevated, almost Shakespearean in its panic, and it collides immediately with the plain hospitality of Jed Clampett, who simply invites everyone inside. Buddy Ebsen's delivery of the welcome, "Come on in, Colonel Foxhall, you two young fella," carries no suspicion, only the instinctive courtesy of a man who has never met a stranger he would not feed. The rapid deterioration of clarity is a marvel of construction. Jed notices that the two men got names a heap alike, and the lieutenant's attempt to introduce himself as Richards, a bunco specialist, only deepens the fog. When Jed inquires with genuine rural curiosity why a colonel would want to take up with a swindler, the lieutenant's protestations are swept aside by the arrival of additional family members and the steady accumulation of misheard titles. "Look who's here. Colonel Foxhole," someone calls, and the name continues its comic mutation. Foxhole, Foxhall, Freddy the Fox. Each variation strips another layer of dignity from the prisoner while simultaneously confusing the official who has brought him. The lieutenant's increasingly frantic corrections. "My name is Frank Richards." Lieutenant Frank Richards are met with the calm observation that criminals changing their names a lot. In the Clampett worldview, official identity is fluid and therefore unreliable. Character, by contrast, is fixed and visible in a man's actions. The decision to seize the wrong man arrives with the inevitability of mountain logic. When the lieutenant insists that the purpose of the visit is to have you identify a criminal, Jed's response is pure clamped reasonableness. Now, how can I do that when you can't make up your own mind, who you are? The line is delivered with Ebsen's characteristic mildness, yet it contains a devastating critique of bureaucratic procedure. If the authorities themselves cannot agree on a man's name, how can a citizen be expected to render judgment? Jethro, ever the eager executor of family policy, receives the order to seize him with enthusiasm. The physical comedy that follows Jethro lifting the protesting lieutenant, the struggle, the declaration that we ain't got no woodshed. I'll take him to the cellar is pure visual farce, yet it rests on a coherent moral foundation. In the absence of clear official identity, the Clampetts fall back on the older system of personal judgment and immediate consequence. The cellar becomes for a few glorious minutes a makeshift courtroom and detention facility. Jethro's proud announcement to Ellie Mae got me a little swindler. That's what is met with her practical attempt to intervene, which quickly dissolves into a sibling argument of I can too, you can't. The childish cadence of the exchange is deliberate. The series frequently allows its adult characters to slip into the rhythms of childhood when the machinery of the modern world proves too complicated. Max Baer Jr. and Donna Douglas play these moments with complete commitment, never winking at the audience, and the result is comedy that feels lived in rather than performed. When Drysdale finally arrives and is told that the scoundrel is tied up down the cellar, his delighted response, "Oh good. I was hoping you'd give him a taste of mountain justice," reveals how thoroughly the banker has absorbed and misunderstood the Clampett ethos. Drysdale wants the violence without the morality. The family supplies the morality without the violence. The script's handling of the gun under the lieutenant's code is another small triumph. Jed's quiet observation, "Bad enough being a swindler, but when you come into my home toting a pistol you done muddied up my creek," transforms a potential moment of danger into a statement of household principle. The creek, that emblem of the family's lost mountain home, becomes the measure of all offense. To bring a weapon into the Clampett house is not merely illegal. It is a violation of hospitality so profound that it requires immediate correction. The decision to administer a whooping is announced without anger, almost with regret, and the absence of an actual woodshed only underscores the improvisational nature of Clampett justice. The cellar will do. In the cultural context of 1966, when American cities were experiencing rising crime rates and increasing public anxiety about law and order, the series offered a fantasy of justice that was personal, proportionate, and ultimately merciful. No one is truly harmed. The only injury is to dignity, and even that is temporary. Performance possibilities abound. One can envision Raymond Bailey's Drysdale hovering at the edge of the action, torn between official approval and private glee at the discomfort of a man who threatened his bank. Nancy Culp's Miss Hathaway would have watched with the weary competence of someone who has seen every variety of Clampett chaos and still finds new variations surprising. Buddy Ebsen's Jed remains the still point, listening more than speaking, allowing the confusion to reveal its own absurdity. Irene Ryan's Granny has not yet claimed the center of the scene, but her eventual entrance is already prepared by the talk of mountain justice and the family's readiness to act on older codes. The deeper theme is the unreliability of names and the reliability of character. In Beverly Hills, identity is a performance supported by titles, stationery, and official documents. In the Clampett household, identity is revealed by behavior. The lieutenant's inability to make his name stick becomes evidence against him. The colonel's flowery language becomes equally suspect. The family does not reject the law, they simply apply a different standard of evidence, one that prioritizes what a man does over what he is called. This distinction is never preached. It is enacted through the accumulating comedy of misidentification. By the time the lieutenant is being carried toward the cellar, the audience has been invited to share the Clampett's perspective so completely that the officials' protests sound like the desperate inventions of a guilty man. Historically, the mid-1960s were years in which questions of identity, racial, generational, national, occupied the center of public conversation. The Beverly Hillbillies never addressed those larger questions directly, yet its weekly exploration of mistaken identity and cultural translation offered a parallel conversation in comic form. Who is the real criminal? The man with the official title or the man whose actions have harmed others? Who possesses genuine authority? The officer with the badge or the family that still lives by the code of the hills? The series answers these questions not with speeches but with the steady accumulation of comic detail. The mangled names, the improvised detention, the calm insistence that a pistol in the house is an offense against the creek itself. As the scene reaches its temporary resolution with the lieutenant secured and Drysdale expressing satisfaction, the script has prepared the ground for the next escalation. Granny's entrance and the Colonel's romantic maneuvering are only moments away, yet the identity confusion has already done its essential work. It has reminded the audience that in the world of the Beverly Hillbillies, the most sophisticated systems of classification can be undone by a family that refuses to accept appearance as reality. The cellar may not be a legal jail, but it is a moral one, and in that distinction lies the continuing power of the Clampett vision. Mountain justice as practiced in this living room and this cellar is not vengeance, it is the restoration of clarity in a world that has misplaced it. The composite script, by lingering so lovingly over every misspoken name and every well-intentioned seizure, reaffirms the series' deepest faith that character will out, titles will fail, and the plain speech of the Hills will in the end prove more reliable than all the official documents Beverly Hills can. The composite script now turns its attention to one of the most unexpected and tenderly comic pairings in the entire Beverly Hillbillies canon, the sudden romantic awakening of Daisy Moses, known to the world as Granny, and the silver-tongued confidence man who only moments earlier was destined for the cellar. What begins as a desperate act of concealment becomes, through the alchemy of Irene Ryan's performance and the writer's affectionate imagination, a miniature love story that reveals as much about the series' heart as any of its more elaborate schemes. The Colonel, having slipped away from the chaos of mistaken identity, is discovered by Granny in the broom closet. His opening declaration, just waiting for this golden opportunity, "My dear, the opportunity of being alone with you," is pure theatrical excess, yet Ryan's reaction transforms it into something curiously genuine. She does not scream or summon the family, she listens, and in that listening the comedy deepens into something warmer. The Colonel's courtship proceeds with the florid vocabulary of a man who has practiced seduction in more elegant surroundings. "You mean the very moment I first laid eyes upon you, my heart has been your prisoner. It was love at first sight." The language is deliberately overblown, a pastiche of romantic cliché that would collapse under its own weight in any other context. Yet when spoken to Granny, whose ordinary conversation runs to possum recipes and shotgun threats, the contrast produces a comic electricity that the series savors. Irene Ryan's gift was always the ability to meet absurdity with complete emotional sincerity. When she corrects him, "Call me Daisy," the simple request carries the weight of a woman who has not heard her given name spoken with tenderness in many years. The Colonel seizes the opening with professional skill. "Ah, the fairest flower of the field. How like the petal of a daisy is your soft, delicate hand." The subsequent game of She Loves Me not becomes a physical comedy routine of surprising delicacy. One imagines Ryan's small, determined hands, accepting each petal her face, cycling through suspicion, flattery, and reluctant pleasure as the Colonel counts his way toward the desired conclusion. The farewell speech that follows is a small aria of comic pathos. "Now I must say farewell, dear lady, because I must flee the hounds of injustice that even now are baying at my heels. But I shall treasure this moment forever of being alone with you, and I shall carry throughout eternity the memory of your beauty and the dream of a love that might have been." The rhetoric is shameless, yet the script refuses to undercut it entirely. Granny's response, "Hold on, Colonel. You have done away with the stopper under my nose. Now, don't go running off with the jug," brings the scene crashing back into the practical world of mountain housekeeping, and the collision is perfect. The romantic illusion is punctured not by cynicism but by the everyday concerns of a woman who still measures life in stoppers and jugs. Ryan's delivery would have balanced the two tones with surgical precision, the fleeting softness of a woman briefly courted, followed immediately by the sharp practicality that has defined her character for 5 seasons. When the lieutenant and the family reappear, the Colonel's fate hangs in the balance once more. Granny's fierce defense, "Don't lay a hand on my Colonel," announces a transfer of loyalty that no one, least of all the Colonel himself, could have predicted. The claim that she has done made a prisoner of his heart is delivered with such conviction that the audience is invited to wonder, however briefly, whether the old confidence man's practiced lines have accidentally spoken a truth. Jed's quiet intervention, "Hush up everybody, two's company but five's ridiculous," restores order with the same mild authority he brings to every family crisis. His decision to allow the pair a little stroll in the garden is an act of characteristic generosity. Buddy Ebsen plays these moments of permission with a stillness that suggests both amusement and respect. Jed understands that Granny's heart, however unlikely the object, deserves the dignity of its own choosing. The garden stroll itself is reported rather than shown, yet the surrounding dialogue fills in the emotional landscape. Drysdale's outrage that the family is letting him get away is met with Jed's calm reassurance. "He ain't going nowhere. Granny done buttered that old cat's paws." The folk metaphor is perfect. Once an animal's paws are buttered, it will stay close to the warmth of the hearth. In a single rural image, the script explains both Granny's temporary hold on the Colonel and the deeper Clampett philosophy of binding people through kindness rather than force. When Drysdale presses for a signed complaint, Jed's refusal is absolute. "You give us a little trouble, but I ain't going to complain." The line resonates far beyond the immediate plot. It is the same ethical stance that has guided Jed through Oil Strike's movie contracts, and every previous encounter with the greedy and the grasping. Trouble may be given, but complaint is withheld. Mercy in the Clampett Code is not the absence of judgment, it is the presence of proportion. The thematic richness of this sequence deserves careful attention. In the middle of a story about blackmail and false identity, the series pauses to allow an elderly woman a moment of romantic recognition. The choice is radical in its gentleness. 1966 was not a year in which popular culture frequently granted interior lives to women of Granny's age and temperament. Television grandmothers were more often sources of comic complaint or sentimental wisdom. They were rarely permitted the full spectrum of desire, vanity, and vulnerability that Irene Ryan is allowed here. The broom closet becomes briefly a space of possibility and the pedal game a ritual of mutual acknowledgement. That the Colonel's motives remain suspect only heightens the emotional stakes. Granny is not fooled. She is choosing for a few minutes to inhabit the story he is telling. The series honors that choice without requiring it to be permanent or wise. Performance details continue to reward the imagination. One can see Raymond Bailey's Drysdale swelling with indignation at the sight of the criminal being led into the garden, his hands twitching toward imaginary legal documents. Nancy Culp's Miss Hathaway would have observed the entire romantic interlude with the dry fascination of a woman who has long since abandoned hope of similar attention. Max Baer Jr.'s Jethro, still proud of his earlier capture, must now watch his prisoner transformed into a suitor, and the adjustment would have produced wonderful reactions of confusion and reluctant admiration. Above all, Irene Ryan's work in these minutes stands as a masterclass in comic vulnerability. She never softens Granny into sentimentality, she simply allows the character's fierce independence to include for once the possibility of being cherished. Historically, the sequence participates in a longer American tradition of the confidence man who finds himself temporarily reformed by contact with genuine feeling. From Melville's moral ambiguities to the gentler con artists of 1930s film, the figure of the silver-tongued rogue who meets an honest heart has offered audiences a fantasy of redemption through affection. The Beverly Hillbillies updates the tradition by locating the honest heart in a woman who can still handle a shotgun and cure heartburn with peppermint water. The redemption, if it occurs at all, is partial and temporary, exactly the kind of ambiguous mercy the series prefers. The Colonel will not become a permanent member of the household, yet for one afternoon he is claimed by it, and the claiming changes the moral temperature of the story. As the garden stroll concludes and the family returns to the practical matter of the still-at-large Emmeline, the script has accomplished a remarkable tonal shift. The earlier farce of mistaken identity has opened into a moment of unexpected tenderness, and that tenderness has in turn complicated the audience's relationship to the criminal plot. Justice remains necessary, yet it is no longer simple. Granny's heart has introduced a competing claim, and Jed's refusal to sign the complaint has elevated hospitality above procedure. In the larger architecture of the composite episodes, this romantic interlude serves as a bridge between the blackmail narrative and the coming guerrilla farce. It reminds the viewer that every Clampett story, however extravagant its premise, remains grounded in the emotional lives of characters who are allowed to surprise themselves and one another. The broom closet, the petals, the garden path, these modest locations become under the series' affectionate gaze stages for a comedy of recognition. A woman who has spent decades defined by her usefulness is briefly defined by her desirability. A man who has lived by deception is briefly required to live by the consequences of a story he only half meant. And a family that has never needed the approval of Beverly Hills discovers once again that its own codes of loyalty and mercy are sufficient for the occasion. In that discovery lies the continuing grace of the Beverly Hillbillies, a grace this composite script renews with every unlikely pairing and every quiet refusal to complain. The composite script now carries the transformed Emmeline into the polished corridors of the Commerce Bank of Beverly Hills, where the series' long-running satire of institutional pretension reaches one of its most elegant peaks. Disguised in the fancy dress provided by Ellie Mae and coached in city speech and city carriage by Jethro, the former country Kate presents herself as a special investigator from the district attorney's office. The entrance is managed with perfect comic economy. "Excuse me, Chief," she begins, and Mr. Drysdale, ever hungry for official recognition, accepts the introduction without a flicker of doubt. The recovered evidence, a cuckoo clock that conceals a camera activated by an electronic triggering device, is offered as the key to reconstructing the original blackmail of Jed Clampett. What follows is a masterclass in the art of the con performed against a man whose vanity makes him the ideal mark. Raymond Bailey's Drysdale has always been a character defined by the gap between the authority he claims and the insecurity he cannot conceal. In this sequence, that gap becomes the engine of the comedy. When Emmeline explains that poor, simple, trusting Jed Clampett still doesn't know what happened, Drysdale's agreement is immediate and self-congratulatory. He alone, she implies, possesses the sophistication necessary to understand the crime. The flattery is laid on with a trowel. A man of your intelligence and sophistication, and Bailey's performance would have shown the banker swelling under its influence like a pouter pigeon. The decision to dismiss his own staff so that the conversation may remain confidential is both practical for the con and revelatory of character. Drysdale's need to appear important overrides every cautious instinct that a lifetime in banking ought to have instilled. The reconstruction of the original blackmail method is a sequence of escalating physical intimacy disguised as professional analysis. Emmeline suggests that the cuckoo clock was placed on a table or dresser, the triggering device concealed in the hand, and then she probably threw her arms around him and kissed him like this. The demonstration kiss is the scene's comic detonator. In the constrained moral atmosphere of 1960s network television, a sudden kiss on the mouth of the town's leading banker by a supposed law enforcement official carries an electric charge of transgression. The script allows Drysdale a moment of startled pleasure. Haha, yeah, it was probably something like that before the larger implications settle. Emmeline's gratitude is phrased with professional coolness. I'm so grateful to you, Mr. Drysdale. My pleasure. Let me know how things develop. The audience, privy to her true identity, understands that the development will be the delivery of new compromising photographs, this time starring the banker himself. The elegance of the construction lies in its symmetry. The same method used against Jed is now turned against the man who most prides himself on being Jed's opposite. Where Jed was a simple man from the hills, naive and unsuspecting, Drysdale is invited to see himself as just the opposite. The compliment is a trap, and he walks into it with both eyes open and both arms willing. In the broader thematic architecture of the Beverly Hillbillies, the sequence reaffirms a central conviction. Sophistication is no protection against vanity. The Mountain family, for all its supposed simplicity, has never been successfully blackmailed. The urban professional armored in titles and tailored suits falls in a single afternoon. When the scene shifts to the later confrontation, the script brings the entire family into the bank for a reckoning that mixes justice with characteristic Clampett mercy. Jed arrives carrying the very photographs Emmeline has just obtained. The revelation that he took them off Emmeline when I seen her sneaking over to the Drysdale is delivered with Ebsen's usual mildness, yet the moral force is considerable. Jed has not sought the pictures for leverage. He has simply removed a dangerous object from circulation, the way a man might remove a loaded gun from a child's reach. Drysdale's panic is absolute. The threat of delivery to Mrs. Drysdale reduces the banker to tears and incoherent bargaining. I'm being victimized by this blackguard. He'll ruin my marriage if I don't pay him $50,000. The amount has dropped from the original $1 million demanded of Jed, a quiet comic detail that underscores how thoroughly the Colonel has misjudged his new mark. Jed's response is the ethical climax of the blackmail plot. I can beat that deal for you, Colonel. You mean you're offering more money? No, I'm offering to keep you out of jail. You promise to behave yourself, Mr. Drysdale, I'll let you go. The inversion is complete. The man who was the original intended victim now holds the power of absolution, and he exercises it without hesitation. The subsequent revelation that Emmeline herself has undergone a change of heart. Granny and me had a little talk with her. Nobody ever explained right from wrong to me. The way she done completes the moral arc. The confidence woman who entered the bank as a predator leaves it, at least temporarily, as a penitent. The invitation to stay for a big mess of side meat and black-eyed peas rather than face bread and water is pure Clampett hospitality. Justice tempered by the offer of a seat at the table. The cuckoo clock itself deserves lingering attention as a comic prop. In an age when electronic gadgets were still novel enough to carry a science fiction aura, the idea of a camera hidden inside a folksy timepiece is both ingenious and absurd. The clock's traditional association with rustic charm makes its conversion into an instrument of blackmail especially piquant. The series has always enjoyed the collision of old forms and new functions, the old truck that carries millions, the ancient recipes that cure modern ailments, and the cuckoo clock continues the tradition with mechanical precision. When Emmeline demonstrates its operation, The audience is invited to enjoy both the cleverness of the device and the greater cleverness of the family that ultimately neutralizes it. Performance opportunities in this sequence are rich. One imagines Nancy Culp's Miss Hathaway watching the entire demonstration with the tight-lipped fascination of a woman who has long managed her employer's more embarrassing impulses. The kiss itself would have required precise comic timing from both Bailey and the actress playing Emmeline, the suddenness, the brief freeze, the banker's flustered recovery. Buddy Ebsen's later entrance with the photographs would have been played with the same unhurried authority he brings to every confrontation with greed. He does not gloat, he simply restores order. Irene Ryan's offstage influence is felt in Emmeline's conversion. The audience understands that a few minutes in the cellar with Granny can accomplish what years of conventional morality have failed to achieve. Historically, the mid-1960s marked a moment when American culture was increasingly preoccupied with surveillance, hidden recording devices, and the vulnerability of private life to technological intrusion. The cuckoo clock camera is a comic miniature of those larger anxieties. Yet the series refuses to treat the technology as demonic. The danger lies not in the device but in the intentions of the people who wield it. And those intentions can be altered by contact with a different moral climate. Emmeline's change of heart is not presented as miraculous. It is presented as the natural consequence of being treated for once as a person rather than a professional adversary. As the blackmail plot reaches its resolution, the script has completed a full ethical circle. The crime that began with photographs of Jed ends with photographs of Drysdale, and the power to decide their fate rests with the original intended victim. Jed's choice to withhold both money and punishment in exchange for a simple promise of better behavior reasserts the Clampett Code at its most attractive. Trouble may be given but complaint is refused. Leverage may be obtained, but it is not exploited. In a decade increasingly defined by the hard bargaining of power, politics, and the growing sophistication of corporate and criminal enterprise, the series continued to insist that another way remained possible. That way is not naive, it is deliberately chosen, and its continuing presence on American television screens offered weekly evidence that the choice could still be made. The transition out of the bank and into the next phase of the composite narrative, Jethro's charm school announcement, and the subsequent demand for a gorilla feels organic precisely because the moral ground has been cleared. The confidence games have been exposed, the photographs neutralized, and the temporary redemption of Emmeline accomplished. What remains is the family's inexhaustible capacity for new projects, new animals, and new forms of chaos. The cuckoo clock may have stopped its dangerous calling, yet the larger clock of Clampett invention continues to tick, ready to strike the next improbable hour. The composite script pivots with characteristic ease from the resolution of the blackmail plot into a new and altogether more exuberant form of Clampett ambition. Jethro Bodine, still glowing from his success in transforming Emmeline, announces to Uncle Jed that he has decided on my life's calling. The possibilities Jed offers atomic scientist or frycook are dismissed with the cheerful certainty that only Jethro can muster, neither one. I'm gonna open me up a charm school. The declaration is pure series gold. In a single sentence, the writers capture Jethro's boundless self-regard, his genuine pride in the afternoon's work, and the family's perpetual readiness to invent new institutions out of thin air. Max Baer Jr.'s delivery would have radiated the solemn excitement of a young man who has just discovered his vocation, and Buddy Ebsen's quiet listening would have supplied the perfect counterweight of affectionate skepticism. Jethro's account of the transformation is a comic aria of self-congratulation. I took a poor dumb old country gal and turned her into a regular fata bara. The invented word half femme fatale, half pure Bodine is one of the script's happiest linguistic creations. He continues, I learned her to dress fancy talk city and strut around like a flat-footed goose on a hot rock. When I got through with her, she was pretty enough to pick and sweet enough to put up in a jar. The sequence of images is both ridiculous and oddly tender. Jethro does not claim to have created sophistication out of nothing. He claims to have revealed a beauty that was already present, and the distinction matters. In the moral universe of the Beverly Hillbillies, improvement is never a matter of erasing origin, it is a matter of adding possibility. The charm school is simply the institutional expression of that belief. The conversation is interrupted by the practical realities of the household, and the script uses the interruption to begin its next major movement. Ellie Mae is discovered attempting to teach her chimpanzee Maybelle to chop wood. The little ape's limitations become the seed of a new family project. Poor little old Maybelle gets awful lonesome, Jethro observes. How would you like for her to have a big brother? The suggestion of another monkey is quickly escalated, another monkey. A great big one. When Ellie Mae asks whether they come bigger than Maybelle, Jethro's answer is immediate and enthusiastic. Heck yeah, Why, there's great big ones. It's called a gorilla. The word lands with the force of revelation. In the Clampett imagination, a gorilla is not a wild animal to be feared. It is a potential member of the workforce and an addition to the family's ever-expanding menagerie of critters. The subsequent family council is a masterpiece of practical fantasy. Jethro enumerates the gorilla's potential usefulness. It could chop wood, pull a plow, do the ironing, the washing, or whatever else you said. Granny's objection is characteristically grounded in kitchen economics. If he eats like you, forget it. I ain't cooking for another table buzzard. Jethro's reassurance gorillas don't eat nothing but leaves is accepted with the same seriousness the family once granted the idea of a cement pond. Jed's decision to telephone Mr. Drysdale is reached without irony. I'll call Mr. Drysdale, see if he can find us one. The line is delivered with Ebson's customary mildness, yet it carries the full weight of Clampett expectation. In their world, the banker who manages $60 million can surely manage the acquisition of one large ape. The telephone conversation that follows is pure Drysdale panic refracted through Clampett calm. Jed's request is simple. We'd like us a gorilla. Drysdale's repetition, one gorilla. Did you say gorilla? Allows Raymond Bailey to explore every register of disbelief and rising hysteria. When Jed specifies one of them big apes, the kind that eats leaves, and adds the practical detail that he would like it over here this morning, the banker's world tilts on its axis. His automatic promise, there's nothing I'd rather do than get you a gorilla, is the reflex of a man who has never successfully refused a Clampett request. Only after the call ends does the full horror settle. The subsequent exchange with Miss Hathaway is a classic of secondary panic. You certainly got me into a mess this time. Her reasonable suggestion that he simply transfer the Clampett millions to another bank is met with the physical comedy of Drysdale reaching for imaginary weapons. The series has always understood that Drysdale's terror is comic precisely because it is sincere. The Clampetts are not trying to torment him. They are simply living according to a logic he cannot escape. The thematic transition from Charm School to Gorilla is less abrupt than it first appears. Both projects arise from the same Clampett impulse, the desire to improve the immediate environment through the addition of new capacities. Jethro's Charm School sought to improve human presentation. The gorilla is expected to improve the efficiency of household labor. In both cases, the family approaches the problem with the same cheerful confidence that any gap in knowledge or ability can be bridged by goodwill and improvisation. The series never undercuts that confidence with cynicism. Even when the projects fail in practical terms, as the Charm School does the moment Granny intervenes, and as the gorilla scheme will spectacularly fail, they succeed in human ones. Relationships are formed, characters are revealed, and the audience is invited to share the pleasure of invention itself. Performance possibilities continue to multiply. Max Baer Jr.'s Jethro moves from the solemnity of his vocational announcement to the wide-eyed excitement of guerrilla speculation without ever losing the character's essential sweetness. Donna Douglas's Ellie Mae brings her customary blend of tomboy practicality and soft-hearted concern for every living creature. Irene Ryan's Granny supplies the necessary ballast of skepticism rooted in decades of feeding unpredictable appetites. Buddy Ebson's Jed remains the quiet center, translating family desire into action with a telephone call that will set the rest of the composite narrative in motion. Raymond Bailey's Drysdale, receiving that call, is given one of his finest opportunities to display the full spectrum of bankerly dread. Historically, the mid-1960s fascination with exotic animals in domestic settings had already produced a small genre of film and television comedy. The Beverly Hillbillies participates in that tradition while remaining true to its own values. The gorilla is never presented as a status symbol or exotic pet for display. It is presented as a potential worker and companion, an extension of the family's existing relationship with the natural world. In an era when American households were increasingly filled with labor-saving devices, the Clampetts reverse the equation. They seek a labor-performing creature. The joke is gentle, but it carries a quiet critique of the growing distance between modern life and the physical world. As the script leaves Jed's telephone call and Drysdale's rising panic, the ground has been prepared for the arrival of Tom Kelly in the gorilla suit. The Charm School episode has closed. Emmeline's temporary transformation has been recorded, and the family's attention has shifted to a new and larger critter. The movement feels organic because it arises from the same wellspring of Clampett creativity that has sustained the series for 5 seasons. Whether the project is a school of charm or the acquisition of a gorilla, the underlying faith remains constant. The world is improbable. The family is capable, and Mr. Drysdale, whatever his private terror, will find a way to deliver. In that faith lies the continuing vitality of the Beverly Hillbillies, a vitality this composite script renews with every improbable request and every earnest declaration of a new life's calling. The composite script now delivers one of the most sustained and inventively physical sequences in the entire Beverly Hillbillies canon, the arrival of the gorilla that is not a gorilla at all. Mr. Drysdale, trapped by his own promise, and by the unyielding logic of clamped desire, has hired Tom Kelly, the greatest gorilla impersonator in the business, to perform a carefully staged spectacle of ferocity. The plan is simple on paper. Kelly will be delivered in a cage to the clamped doorstep, will beat his chest, bare his fangs, snarl, and attempt to bend the bars in the manner of the legendary Gargantua. The family, suitably terrified, will abandon all thought of keeping a wild ape as a household pet and laborer. What actually occurs is the precise opposite, and the resulting comedy is a triumph of inverted expectation, physical commitment, and the Clampett family's inexhaustible capacity to absorb the extraordinary into the ordinary. The delivery itself is staged with the ceremonial excitement of a circus coming to town. Come on, everybody, he's here. The family pours out of the mansion to greet the cage, and the script immediately establishes the gap between intended effect and actual reception. Jed's caution, "Don't go too close right off. We don't want to scare him," reverses the expected polarity of fear. The gorilla is the one who must be protected from alarm. Granny's first assessment is practical and diagnostic. "The way he's thumping himself, I think he's got a touch of heartburn." The chest beating that was meant to signal primal rage is reinterpreted as a symptom of digestive distress caused by eating all them leaves. In a single observation, Irene Ryan reclaims the entire spectacle for the domestic sphere of mountain medicine. The fearsome anthropoid becomes a patient. The naming of the creature follows with the same cheerful logic. Jethro, who has been reading the encyclopedia, announces that the animal is what you call herbivorous. Jed's response is immediate and affectionate. Nice name. Gonna call him Herbie." The leap from scientific classification to familiar nickname is pure Clampett genius. In their world, every living thing is entitled to a name that can be spoken across a supper table. Herbie carries none of the exotic menace Drysdale intended. It carries the warmth of a family pet and the promise of future chores. Ellie Mae is dispatched to fetch Granny's remedy, peppermint and soda water, with the urgency of a nurse answering a critical call. The poor critter, she is told, is suffering something pitiful. What follows is a masterpiece of physical comedy grounded in complete sincerity. The family attempts to administer the home remedy through the bars of the cage. Kelly, inside the suit, is forced to react to kindness rather than terror. When the soda water is offered and in the ensuing confusion knocked aside, Granny's maternal concern flips instantly into disciplinary intent. "You hurt him. I'm gonna learn him some manners." The threat of a switch is raised. The padlock is discovered to be an obstacle, and Jed is forced to intervene with the same mild authority he brings to every family crisis. The sequence is constructed so that every aggressive gesture Kelly was hired to perform is reinterpreted by the Clampetts as either illness or misbehavior requiring correction. The man in the suit cannot win. If he snarls, he has heartburn. If he strikes, he needs a whooping. If he remains passive, he is accepting the role of family dependent. The decision to remove Herbie from the cage and bring him into the house marks the complete collapse of Drysdale's strategy. Clothes are produced: Lyle Crick's overalls, since Uncle Jed's are too binding, and the gorilla is dressed like a farmhand. The visual image is irresistible: a full-sized ape suit standing in overalls being spoken to with the patient instruction one might offer a large child. Granny's continuing suspicion that the creature requires further medical attention leads to the offer of hot possum broth that'll get him to smiling. The broth, complete with diced tail for extra flavor, becomes another comic battleground. Herbie's preference for the soup over the basket of fresh leaves only confirms the family's diagnosis. The encyclopedia may say gorillas are herbivorous, but this particular specimen knows good cooking when he tastes it. Throughout the sequence, the script maintains a delicate balance between the audience's knowledge of the imposture and the family's complete acceptance of the reality they have been offered. We know Tom Kelly is sweating inside a heavy costume, desperately trying to fulfill a contract that has turned into a nightmare of forced labor and forced medicine. The Clampetts know only that a large, somewhat peevish critter has arrived and must be made comfortable, useful, and well-mannered. The comedy arises from the perfect seriousness with which both parties inhabit their incompatible understandings. Max Baer Jr.'s Jethro is already planning the work schedule. Donna Douglas's Ellie Mae is already claiming emotional ownership. Irene Ryan's Granny is already prepared to administer both cure and discipline. Buddy Ebsen's Jed observes it all with the quiet satisfaction of a man whose latest request has been fulfilled. The performance demands on the actor inside the suit are considerable and largely invisible. George Barrows, the real-life gorilla specialist, hired for the role must convey through posture, gesture and muffled reaction the rising panic of a professional who has lost control of the engagement. Every time he attempts the chest beating that was meant to terrify Granny diagnoses further digestive trouble, every time he reaches through the bars. The family interprets the gesture as a request for assistance or an act of petulance requiring correction. The suit itself becomes a comic prison far more effective than the cage that was supposed to contain him. Historically, the mid-1960s fascination with men in animal costumes had already produced a small tradition of television and film comedy from circus pictures to children's programming. The Beverly Hillbillies participates in that tradition while remaining true to its own ethical center. The gorilla is never treated as a freak or a spectacle for the family's amusement. He is treated as a new member of the household economy and the household affections. In an era when American culture was increasingly organized around the consumption of exotic entertainment, the Clampetts reverse the relationship. They do not consume the exotic, they employ it and attempt to heal it. The heartburn diagnosis and the subsequent medical interventions form the emotional core of the sequence. Granny's medicine is not mockery, it is the same practical care she has offered every injured or ailing creature that has crossed her path. The peppermint and soda water, the possum broth, the thread of a switch if manners do not improve, all are expressions of a coherent system of responsibility. In the Clampett world, to accept a living being onto the property is to accept responsibility for its well-being and its behavior. Drysdale hired a monster. The family received a dependent. The difference in perception is the entire joke, and it is a joke told with remarkable consistency and affection. As the sequence draws toward its temporary close, Irby dressed medicated, and already being assigned chores, the script has accomplished a complete inversion of the original plan. The terror that was meant to drive the Clampetts back to simpler pets has instead expanded their household and their sense of obligation. Tom Kelly's professional performance has been absorbed into a domestic drama of illness, clothing, and impending labor. The man in the suit has become Irby, and Irby has become family. In that transformation lies the continuing magic of the series, the ability to meet every extraordinary arrival with the same steady combination of practicality, kindness, and absolute confidence that the extraordinary can be made ordinary by the simple act of naming it, nursing it, and putting it to work. The ground is now prepared for the next escalation, the exhaustive chores, the real zoo gorilla, and the eventual demand for Irby's luxurious return. Yet already the essential comic premise has been established with unforgettable clarity. A professional impersonator entered the Clampett property intending to frighten. He will leave it exhausted, partially domesticated, and forever known by a name that began as a scientific term and ended as a term of endearment. In the distance between those two intentions lies the enduring comic vision of the Beverly Hillbillies, a vision this composite script continues to celebrate with every misdiagnosed snarl and every offered spoonful of possum broth. The composite script now enters one of its most sustained and physically inventive passages, the systematic transformation of the hired gorilla impersonator into an exhausted member of the Clampett labor force. What began as Mr. Drysdale's scheme to terrify the family into abandoning their request has become, under the relentless logic of mountain practicality, a full-scale employment contract from which there is no escape. Irby, still Tom Kelly inside the heavy suit, is dressed medicated, assigned tasks threatened with further doses of Granny's cooking, and worked with a cheerful intensity that leaves the professional performer gasping for release. The comedy that unfolds is a masterclass in the collision between intended performance and lived consequence, played out across woodpiles, ironing boards, and the ever-present threat of possum broth. The decision to clothe the gorilla is handled with the same matter-of-fact generosity the family extends to every new arrival. Overalls belonging to the absent Lyle Crick are produced because Uncle Jed's clothes are too binding and Jethro's are insufficient. The visual image is immediately comic, a full-sized ape suit standing in farm clothes being instructed in the proper way to present itself at table. Granny's continuing medical campaign supplies the next layer of pressure. Having diagnosed heartburn from an excess of leaves, she now offers the sovereign remedy of hot possum broth, complete with little chunks floating around in there that she proudly identifies as diced tail to give it extra flavor. The forced choice between a basket of fresh leaves and a steaming bowl of mountain soup becomes a comic battlefield. When Irby indicates a preference for the broth, the family takes it as proof that their care is succeeding. The encyclopedia may insist on a herbivorous diet, but this particular specimen has clearly recognized quality cooking. Jethro's management style emerges as the primary engine of exhaustion. Having established that the gorilla is pretty near human, he proceeds to assign work with the same earnest intensity he once brought to the charm school project. The woodpile becomes the first proving ground. "You gotta get this wood split before Granny finds us," he warns, adding the ultimate threat. "If you don't get this wood split, I'm gonna make you eat that possum soup." The line is pure Bodine logic labor enforced by the prospect of further medical attention. Max Baer Jr.'s performance would have radiated the cheerful authority of a young man who has never doubted his right to direct the energies of others. The gorilla's compliance is interpreted as enthusiasm. "Uncle Jed, he ain't even worked up a sweat," Jethro reports with pride, already planning the next phase: plowing, hoeing potatoes, and mowing the lawn. Ellie Mae's competing claim introduces a softer but equally inescapable form of obligation. She wants Irby as companion for Maybelle and as a participant in her own outdoor world. "Come on, Maybelle, I want you to meet your big brother, Irby. He's gonna take you for a nice little stroll." The tug of war between Jethro's work schedule and Ellie Mae's companionship schedule leaves the man in the suit with no neutral ground. Every moment not spent chopping is spent walking. Every moment not spent walking is spent under Granny's suspicious eye. Irene Ryan's Granny remains convinced that the creature's peevishness is medical in origin and that further doses of her cooking will restore both health and manners. The threat of the hickory switch hovers over every interaction, a promise of correction that Kelly inside the suit can neither negotiate nor escape. The physical comedy of the sequence rests on the absolute sincerity of the family's belief. They do not know they are working a man to exhaustion. They know only that a large capable critter has been provided in answer to their request and must therefore be made useful. The audience's superior knowledge creates a continuous double vision. We see the rising desperation of a professional performer who has lost control of the engagement. The Clampetts see a somewhat reluctant but essentially promising new hand who requires firm direction and regular feeding. The gap between those two perceptions generates laughter that never curdles into cruelty because the family's intentions remain unshakably benevolent. They are not tormenting Irby, they are incorporating him. Drysdale's remote monitoring of the situation supplies an additional layer of comic irony. When he and Miss Hathaway arrive to assess the results of the scheme, they discover not a terrified family but a fully operational domestic economy with a gorilla at its center. Kelly's private pleas for release. "They're working me to death" fall on ears that cannot afford to listen. Drysdale's investment in the imposture is now total. To admit failure would be to risk the Clampett millions. The banker's attempts to establish rapport with the creature while simultaneously signaling to the man inside the suit produce some of the sequence's most intricate verbal comedy. "I'm trying to establish a rapport with him. If he needs a rap, use this on him." The pun is involuntary and perfect. The ironing scene stands as a particular highlight of physical invention. Irby is set to work on flour sack drawers while Jethro supervises and Granny hovers with the promise of further broth if standards are not met. The image of an ape suit carefully pressing laundry is both absurd and oddly poignant. In the Clampett world, no capacity is wasted and no newcomer is permitted to remain ornamental. Usefulness is the price of belonging, and belonging is offered without hesitation. The series has always treated labor as a form of hospitality. To give a person or a creature work is to give them a place. Kelly experiences that hospitality as a sentence of hard labor, and the discrepancy is the joke. Historically, the mid-1960s sat at a curious intersection of attitudes toward work animals and entertainment. The rise of television variety shows and circus-derived acts had normalized the spectacle of men in animal costumes, yet those performances remained safely framed as performance. The Beverly Hillbillies removes the frame. By absorbing the impersonator into the household economy, the series collapses the distinction between act and reality in a way that is both comic and strangely progressive. The gorilla is not an act to be applauded, it is a worker to be fed, clothed, and directed. In an era when many Americans were beginning to question the meaning of productive labor, the Clampetts offer a vision of work as integration rather than alienation. The ongoing medical campaign supplies a continuous comic through line. Every sign of resistance is diagnosed as residual heartburn or incomplete recovery. The possum broth becomes both reward and punishment, a culinary binary from which there is no appeal. When Irby attempts to escape the cycle by simply enduring, the family interprets his silence as consent and increases the workload. Jethro's proud report that the gorilla ain't even worked up a sweat is delivered with the satisfaction of a successful trainer. The audience, aware of the suit's stifling weight and the performer's accumulating fatigue, hears the line as unintentional cruelty. The script never acknowledges that cruelty because the characters cannot see it. Their blindness is the source of the comedy's purity. As the sequence builds toward Kelly's eventual desperate flight, the script has accomplished a remarkable feat of sustained inversion. The terror that was meant to flow from gorilla to family has reversed direction completely. The family is calm, purposeful, and affectionate. The gorilla is trapped, overworked, and medically supervised without mercy. Tom Kelly entered the property as a professional scare. He will leave it as a man who has been claimed clothed, diagnosed, and worked according to a logic he never anticipated and cannot refute. In that reversal lies the continuing comic power of the Beverly Hillbillies, the demonstration that the most elaborate urban schemes are no match for the simple, relentless hospitality of a family that has never learned to leave well enough alone. The chores continue. The broth simmers, the overalls remain fastened. And somewhere inside the suit, a professional performer begins to understand that the only way out is through, and that through may involve plowing the back 40 before the sun goes down. The composite script, by lingering so lovingly over every assigned task and every offered spoonful, reaffirms the series' deepest faith in the transformative power of ordinary expectation. Give the Clampetts a monster, and they will make it a hand. Give them a hand and they will make it family. Give them family and they will put it to work before supper. In that unbroken chain of incorporation lies the exhausted, exhilarating heart of the Irby episodes, and the reason the laughter they provoke has never lost its warmth. The composite script now reaches a decisive turning point in the gorilla saga. A moment when the carefully constructed imposture collapses under the weight of its own success, and the Clampett family, ever practical, simply replaces one unsatisfactory ape with another. Tom Kelly, still trapped inside the heavy suit and driven beyond the limits of professional endurance, finally seizes an opportunity for escape. The theft of Mr. Drysdale's hat and the subsequent appropriation of a vehicle become the visible signs of a man who has had enough of chopping wood, pressing flour sack drawers, and swallowing possum broth under threat of further medical attention. Granny's outraged verdict: "It happens every time. Spare the rod and spoil the ape," is delivered with the full force of mountain certainty, yet the family's disappointment is tempered by characteristic fairness. "We hadn't ought to judge a whole patch by one bad melon," Jed observes, and the decision is reached without prolonged debate. If the first gorilla has proved unreliable, a better one must be obtained. The truck is hitched and the family sets out for the zoo. The acquisition of the real gorilla is handled with the same cheerful efficiency that once secured a cement pond and a movie contract. The script does not linger on the logistics of removing a large primate from institutional care. It simply presents the accomplished fact. The new arrival is stronger, louder, and entirely without the residual manners that Tom Kelly's professional training had supplied. Almost immediately, the creature and Granny enter into open conflict. The physical comedy that erupts is broader and more elemental than the earlier sequences with Herbie, where Kelly's resistance had been the desperate improvisation of a man trying to remain employed. The zoo gorilla's resistance is pure animal force. Granny is thrown through a doorway. The gorilla is kicked down the cellar steps. Jed's attempt to broker a truce, "Granny, you and that ape best call it a draw," is spoken with the weary authority of a man who has refereed too many such contests. The arrival of multiple police cars carrying tranquilizer guns elevates the chaos to public spectacle. Ellie Mae's protective cry, "They're fixing to shoot my gorilla," and her demand for the shotgun produce one of the sequence's sharpest comic reversals. The family that only days earlier had accepted a man in a suit as a household member is now prepared to defend a genuine wild animal against the forces of civic order. The contrast between the two gorillas becomes the quiet engine of the comedy. Irby, for all his thieving conclusion, had chopped wood-worn overalls and submitted, however reluctantly, to the rhythms of Clampett life. The zoo specimen offers none of those accommodations. It bellows, breaks, and refuses every offered role formation. Jethro's earlier pride in having trained a useful hand is replaced by the sober admission that he ain't as much fun as Irby. Ellie Mae's attachment follows the same arc. The real gorilla may be stronger than 12 men, yet it lacks the companionable quality that made the imposter, however exhausted, feel like family. The decision to return the zoo animal and reclaim the original is reached with the same practical speed that governs every Clampett revision of plans. Jed places the call to Mr. Drysdale, and the request is phrased with the calm expectation of a man whose previous requests have always been met. The tame gorilla is wanted back. Drysdale's reception of the demand is a study in accumulating dread. Tom Kelly, summoned once more, appears with visible evidence of the previous engagement's cost. His hands, he demonstrates, no longer match the color of his face. Granny's Lysol and the labor of washing clothes have left their mark. The suit itself is produced as Exhibit A of suffering endured. Kelly's refusal is absolute. No thanks, Mr. Drysdale, and is supported by a detailed inventory of the work extracted. 2 cords of wood, 5 bushels of potatoes, and an uncounted number of flour sack drawers. The negotiation that follows is pure Drysdale desperation. Money is offered, doubled, and still refused. Only the banker's escalating panic and the undeniable leverage of the Clampett millions finally reopen the possibility of a return engagement. Kelly's conditions will be steeper this time, yet the essential transaction remains the same. The family wants its Irby, and Drysdale must supply him. The thematic richness of the substitution sequence deserves careful attention. In the space of a single narrative movement, the script examines the difference between appearance and reality, between performance and presence, and between the useful and the merely strong. The man in the suit hired to simulate danger had been absorbed into the household as a productive member. The genuine article, possessing all the raw power the impostor only pretended to, proves incompatible with the family's requirements. Usefulness, the series suggests, is not a function of authentic wildness. It is a function of willingness to participate in the shared project of daily life. Irby, for all his fraudulent origins, had participated. The zoo gorilla merely exists, and existence without contribution is not enough. Performance demands in this section are distributed with the series' customary intelligence. The actor inside the second suit must convey genuine animal force without the residual humanity that George Barrows brought to Irby. Irene Ryan's granny is given full scope for the physical comedy of mutual combat, her small frame repeatedly launched and launching in a contest that feels both dangerous and perfectly safe within the show's moral boundaries. Buddy Ebsen's Jed continues to supply the quiet center, mediating, deciding, and finally placing the telephone call that will restore the preferred order of things. Max Baer Jr.'s Jethro registers the disappointment of a trainer whose prize pupil has been replaced by an unteachable substitute. Donna Douglas's Ellie Mae embodies the pure attachment that cannot be transferred from one large ape to another. Historically, the mid-1960s fascination with both authentic wild animals and their costumed imitations found frequent expression on television. Nature documentaries and circus programs sat side by side with variety acts featuring men in elaborate suits. The Beverly Hillbillies collapses the distinction and then examines the consequences. By allowing the family to prefer the imitation to the original, the series gently questions the period's growing cult of authenticity. What matters is not whether the gorilla is real. What matters is whether it will chop the wood and accept the overalls. In that preference lies a quiet critique of any cultural hierarchy that values the genuine over the useful, the wild over the companionable. The police intervention with tranquilizer guns supplies a final comic elevation. The arrival of official force intended to restore civic order is met by the family's preparedness to defend its latest critter with mountain methods. Jed's muttered hope that the officers might get him to take a shot at Granny is the dry high point of the sequence, a line that only Buddy Ebsen could deliver with perfect neutrality. The eventual removal of the zoo gorilla clears the stage for Irby's return under new and more expensive conditions. The family has tested the alternative and found it wanting. The call has been placed. The preferred ape, fraudulent though he may be, is wanted home. As the script prepares to move into the luxurious second act of Irby's employment, it has completed a full cycle of experimentation and revision. The Clampetts asked for a gorilla. They received a performance. When the performance fled, they acquired the genuine article. Finding the genuine article inferior for their purposes, they have requested the performance once more. The logic is circular only if one mistakes authenticity for value. In the Clampett world, value is measured by contribution and compatibility, and on those scales, the man in the suit has already proved superior. The real ape has been weighed and found wanting. Irby, whatever his origins, is the one who belongs. The laughter that accompanies this realization is warm rather than mocking. The series does not ridicule the family's preference. It celebrates the clarity with which that preference is reached and acted upon. In a decade increasingly preoccupied with questions of the real versus the simulated, the Beverly Hillbillies offers a simple practical answer: the real is whatever works at home. Everything else can be returned to the zoo. The composite script now presents the triumphant and thoroughly inverted return of Irby, a second engagement negotiated under terms that would have been unthinkable during the first exhausting visitation. Tom Kelly, once a desperate man chopping wood under threat of possum broth, reappears as a pampered contract player whose conditions of employment have been rewritten in the language of pure leverage. The Clampett millions, as always, supply the pressure. Mr. Drysdale's terror of losing them supplies the compliance. What unfolds is a sustained comic meditation on the relativity of power, the elasticity of performance and the Clampett family's remarkable capacity to absorb even the most outrageous demands into the rhythms of household life. The renegotiation itself is a study in escalating concession. Kelly arrives bearing visible evidence of prior suffering, hands bleached by Granny's Lysol, spirit hardened by forced labor, and announces his refusal with the clarity of experience. Money is offered, doubled, and still rejected until the terms shift from compensation to comfort. Special food is stipulated. Special clothing is required. The duration of the engagement is limited to the performer's continued enjoyment. Drysdale, cornered by the knowledge that Jed Clampett's $60 million remain only as secure as the banker's ability to produce a cooperative gorilla, agrees to everything. The result is a Irby transformed. Where the first incarnation wore overalls and split kindling, the second appears in sports clothes, muted shorts, and most memorably pink rompers that prompt Granny's muttered verdict of Harry Diamond Jim Brady. The culinary demands form the sequence's most sustained comic engine. A hamper arrives containing caviar, oiled snails, pickled mushrooms, camembert cheese, chilled crab, and vintage champagne. The contrast with the earlier diet of leaves and possum broth is absolute. Kelly, now fully in control of the engagement, consumes the imported delicacies while the family looks on with varying degrees of suspicion and concern. Granny's reaction is immediate and moral. The sight of an ape eating better than the household triggers a protective indignation that the series has always reserved for the mistreatment of dependents. When she later invents a story of spiders and rotten cheese to explain the owner's neglect, the fabrication is less deception than corrective narrative. In the Clampett moral universe, no creature under their roof should be forced to subsist on inferior fare. If Irby's previous keeper has failed in that duty, the family will supply the missing care, even if the care takes the form of pureed possum offered with relentless hospitality. Ellie Mae's response occupies the opposite emotional pole. She greets the returned Irby with unalloyed delight, interpreting the new wardrobe and leisure schedule as evidence of improved health and happiness. The invitation to swim in the cement pond is extended with the same open-hearted enthusiasm she once offered Maybelle. "You like to go swimming and see me at the pond, Irby. Do you know how to swim? Well, you might learn how if you watch me." The image of a man in a gorilla suit and pink rompers paddling beside Donna Douglas's Ellie Mae is pure visual absurdity, yet the script treats the moment with complete sincerity. No one on the Clampett side of the transaction regards the arrangement as strange. A critter has returned looking better fed and better dressed. The natural response is to include it in the day's pleasures. Jethro's reaction supplies the necessary counterpoint of thwarted ambition. The young man who once envisioned a fully trained agricultural gorilla now confronts a lounging aristocrat who refuses every offered chore. "You ain't gonna get no work out of that playboy ape," he observes with disgust, and the assessment is accurate. The second Irby has rewritten the contract of usefulness. Belonging is no longer earned through labor. It is purchased through Drysdale's continuing financial anxiety. The shift is not lost on the audience. The same performer who previously fled the property to escape exhaustion now remains because the conditions have become those of a resort stay. The comedy lies in the family's willingness to accept the new terms without relinquishing their essential orientation toward care. Drysdale's personal suffering during this second act reaches operatic proportions. Forced to share meals with the family while Irby dines on imported delicacies, the banker finds himself confronted with a gallon of Granny's possum puree prepared especially for the absent gorilla. The demand that he consume it, "You can have the ape's gallon," is delivered with Irene Ryan's characteristic blend of hospitality and command. Raymond Bailey's performance in these moments would have been a master class in controlled panic. Every spoonful becomes a negotiation between the need to preserve the Clampett account and the body's rebellion against mountain cuisine. The script allows him no escape. To refuse the food is to insult Granny. To accept it is to endure a culinary ordeal while the costumed cause of his misery lounges poolside with champagne. The proposed purchase of Irby marks the sequence's thematic climax. Jed, observing the apparent mistreatment of a dependent creature, decides that the only honorable solution is to buy the gorilla outright. "Why don't we buy Irby from Mr. Kelly?" The offer of $10,000 is made with the same calm readiness that once secured a mansion and a cement pond. Kelly's momentary hesitation is overcome by the sheer force of Clampett cash and Clampett certainty. The transaction is less a commercial exchange than an act of rescue as the family understands it. In their eyes, they are not purchasing a novelty. They are liberating a mistreated animal from an owner who feeds it snails and dresses it for leisure rather than labor. The irony that the mistreated animal is a man who has carefully engineered every luxury is left for the audience to savor. Performance possibilities throughout the sequence are exceptionally rich. The actor inside the suit must now convey not desperation but entitled ease, the subtle shift in posture from hunted laborer to resort guest. Irene Ryan's Granny oscillates between protective fury at the supposed neglect and determined efforts to correct it with her own cooking. Buddy Ebsen's Jed remains the moral center, translating concern into the practical action of an offered check. Max Baer Jr.'s Jethro registers the frustration of a trainer whose pupil has joined the leisure class. Donna Douglas's Ellie Mae continues to offer uncomplicated affection that takes every new costume and every refused chore as further evidence of Irby's individuality. Historically, the mid-1960s sat at a cultural crossroads regarding labor, leisure, and the meaning of authentic experience. The rise of consumer prosperity had created new categories of recreational identity, while the lingering memory of harder times still valued usefulness as a moral good. The Beverly Hillbillies stages the conflict in comic miniature. The first Irby was defined by work, the second is defined by the refusal of work. The family's preference ultimately settles on ownership and reform by the creature, restore it to overalls and reintroduce the ethic of contribution. That the creature in question is a man who has no desire to be reformed only heightens the comedy. The Clampetts cannot see the performance, they see only a dependent whose conditions must be improved according to their own standards. The pink rompers themselves deserve particular notice as a comic emblem. In an era when masculine attire still operated under relatively rigid codes, the image of a gorilla in pastel play clothes carries a charge of cheerful transgression. The series does not pause to theorize the image, it simply presents it and allows the family's reactions, ranging from Ellie Mae's approval to Granny's disgust, to supply the commentary. The clothes, like the caviar and the champagne, are external signs of a contract that has shifted from exploitation to indulgence. That both phases are experienced as burdens by the man inside the suit is the joke the audience is invited to share. As the second act moves toward its temporary equilibrium, Irby purchased luxuries still enforce family, already planning the corrective regimen of work clothes and regular chores. The script has completed a full inversion of the original premise. The impersonator hired to frighten has become a valued property to be protected. The banker who sought to control the situation has become the financier of its most expensive phase. The family that requested a laboring ape has received a lounging aristocrat and has responded by preparing to restore the labor through the simple mechanism of ownership. In that cycle of demand, indulgence, and planned correction lies the continuing vitality of the Irby episodes. The Clampetts do not ultimately accept the terms of leisure, they accept the creature and prepare to rewrite the terms once more. The laughter that accompanies this phase is layered and generous. It is directed at the absurdity of the demands, at the banker's suffering, at the family's unshakable confidence that every problem can be solved by care and cash. Yet it is never directed at the impulse of care itself. Even when that impulse is comically misplaced, the series honors its presence. Irby's pampered second act is temporary, as every Clampett arrangement is temporary. What endures is the family's readiness to meet the next extraordinary arrival with the same combination of practicality, hospitality, and absolute certainty that the extraordinary can be made to fit. In that readiness, the composite script once again demonstrates why the Beverly Hillbillies remained a national common language of comedy, because it never lost faith that kindness, however misapplied, remains preferable to indifference, and that every creature, costumed or genuine, deserves a place at the table, even if the place must sometimes be enforced with overalls and the promise of honest work before supper. The composite script executes one of its most abrupt and yet thematically coherent transitions when the luxurious complications of the gorilla saga give way to a conflict far more elemental: Granny's ancient right to manufacture soap in her own kettle and the modern regulatory apparatus of Beverly Hills that has decided the practice constitutes a smog hazard. The shift is pure Beverly Hillbillies logic. One form of domestic disruption ends, another begins. The same family that absorbed a man in an ape suit into its labor force now prepares to absorb an entire municipal government into a mountain-style feud. The resulting comedy is broader, more politically pointed, and still anchored in the character of Daisy Moses, whose refusal to surrender a fundamental household craft becomes the spark for civic chaos. The official notice arrives with the impersonal authority of bureaucratic language. Granny is informed that the open-fire production of soap in her backyard kettle has been classified a violation and that continued operation will result in arrest by the smog commissioner. Her reaction is instantaneous and absolute. When the Beverly Hills say, "I can't make soap," then I say it's time to fight. The declaration is not hyperbolic. It is the statement of a woman whose identity has always been bound to the practical arts of survival. Soap making, like the curing of meat or the compounding of remedies, belongs to the repertoire of skills that allowed the family to live independently in the hills. To forbid it is to attack the foundation of that independence. Irene Ryan delivers the line with the full force of accumulated mountain dignity, and the audience understands at once that compromise is not under consideration. Jed's attempt to interpose reason, talking not shooting, as a way to settle these things is met with the practical counter that Jethro has already begun construction of a feud tank. The vehicle itself is a comic masterpiece of improvisation, levers attached to the shifts and pedals so that the driver may operate the machine and fire simultaneously in absence of steering, acknowledged as the omission of luxury extras, and abscess, most fatally, a forgotten door that leaves the inventor trapped inside his own creation. Max Baer Jr.'s Jethro approaches the project with the same earnest creativity he once brought to the charm school and the training of Irby. The tank is not a toy. It is an instrument of policy, the physical embodiment of the family's determination that certain rights are not negotiable. When Jed is forced to fetch a crowbar to extract his nephew, the moment crystallizes the series' long-standing portrait of well-intentioned invention outrunning practical foresight. The arrival of Commissioner Tinsley elevates the conflict from household defiance to public confrontation. The commissioner, already primed by Mrs. Drysdale's complaint and by previous unhappy encounters with the family, approaches the property prepared for resistance. What he finds is a barricade, a password challenge, and a small elderly woman who regards him as the visible representative of an occupying power. The script allows Tinsley a measure of official dignity even as it arranges his repeated humiliation. His inspection is interrupted by the sight of Jethro's tank, by Granny's unyielding hospitality laced with threat, and finally by the family's decision that the proper response to regulatory overreach is electoral rather than purely martial. Mr. Drysdale's intervention is, as always, governed by the dual imperatives of protecting the Clampett account and preserving his own fragile standing. The discovery that he has previously contributed $500 to Tinsley's re-election campaign produces a spasm of betrayed outrage. That cheap double-crossing two-bit ward healer. The subsequent attempt to increase the contribution to $600 in exchange for administrative amnesia is classic Drysdale negotiation. The belief that every principle has a price and that the price can be adjusted upward until agreement appears. Tinsley's refusal. Not only are they contributing to smog, but just a short time ago I got chased from their house at gunpoint, threatened with a crowbar, and grabbed by their pet gorilla reintroduces the earlier saga as evidence of habitual lawlessness. The banker's panic is complete. The tools of influence that have always worked in Beverly Hills have failed against a combination of genuine regulatory conviction and personal grievance. The suggestion that Jed himself run for smog commissioner arises from Miss Hathaway's desperate search for a non-violent alternative. The idea is offered as a way to channel Granny's feud energy into the legitimate theater of democratic process. Jed's initial resistance, an old stump kicker like me couldn't win no election, is overridden by the combined pressure of family loyalty and the clear understanding that the only thing capable of distracting Granny from her shotgun is a full-scale political campaign. The decision is reached with the same practical speed that once secured a gorilla and a cement pond. If the law will not accommodate the kettle, the family will rewrite the law by capturing the office that enforces it. The thematic resonance of the soap conflict extends well beyond the immediate joke of mountain versus municipality. In the mid-1960s, the United States was beginning to awaken to the environmental consequences of industrial and domestic practices. Smog had become a visible crisis in Los Angeles, and regulatory responses were taking shape at local and state levels. The Beverly Hillbillies translates that large public argument into the intimate scale of a single kettle and a single woman's refusal to abandon a craft. The series does not take a position on the science of air quality, it takes a position on the right of ordinary people to continue practices that have declined their independence. Granny's soap is not a pollutant in her eyes, it is a product of thrift, skill, and self-reliance. The commissioner's citation is not environmental protection, it is cultural erasure. The comedy arises from the absolute incompatibility of those two interpretations. Performance opportunities in the sequence are distributed with the show's customary generosity. Irene Ryan's Granny moves from domestic outrage to martial preparation with the seamless intensity that made her one of television's great comic forces. Her defense of the kettle is not abstract principle, it is the defense of a lifetime of making do. Buddy Ebsen's Jed supplies the mediating intelligence that seeks a path short of open warfare while never dismissing the legitimacy of the grievance. Max Baer Jr.'s Jethro embodies the family's gift for translating emotion into elaborate physical projects even when those projects contain fundamental design flaws. Raymond Bailey's Drysdale continues his long-running portrait of a man whose every attempt to manage the Clampetts only multiplies his own misery. Nancy Culp's Miss Hathaway as so often provides the voice of exhausted reason that nonetheless remains loyal to the chaos she cannot control. The barricade and password sequence deserves particular notice as pure theatrical farce. Granny's challenge, drop your gun and reach for the sky, delivered to her own family members, establishes the atmosphere of a household under siege. The demand for a password that even Jed cannot supply underscores the improvisational nature of the feud. This is not a carefully planned military campaign. It is the spontaneous eruption of a woman who has decided that certain lines cannot be crossed. When Jethro's tank appears as the centerpiece of the defenses, the image completes the portrait of a family that meets every external pressure with an escalation of its own inventive resources. Historically, the feud tradition invoked by Granny carries deep roots in American vernacular culture. The Hatfield-McCoy conflicts and countless lesser mountain disputes had long since entered national folklore as emblems of honor cultures that refused the mediation of formal law. The Beverly Hillbillies updates the tradition by placing it inside the most regulated and image-conscious community in the United States. The joke is not that Granny is backward. The joke is that Beverly Hills, for all its sophistication, has no effective response to a woman who simply declines to accept its authority over her kettle. The regulatory state meets a form of resistance it is not equipped to process, and the result is comedy that still carries a quiet political charge. As the sequence prepares the ground for the full electoral campaign of the following movement, it has already accomplished its essential work. The guerrilla has been absorbed and for the moment set aside. The new conflict has been defined in the clearest possible terms: the right to make soap versus the power to forbid it. Granny has declared the feud. Jethro has built the tank. Drysdale has failed to buy a solution. And Jed, against his own modest instincts, has been drafted into the arena of public office. The composite script, by moving so directly from one form of domestic extraordinary to the next, reaffirms the series' foundational rhythm. The Clampetts do not seek conflict with the modern world. They simply continue to live according to their own codes, and the modern world, encountering those codes, repeatedly discovers that it is the party that must adjust. The soap kettle still simmers. The citation remains in force. The tank sits ready, doorless and determined. And somewhere in the mansion, plans are already forming for posters, speeches, and a campaign that will attempt to settle by ballot what could not be settled by bribe or by barricade. In that progression, the enduring comic vision of the Beverly Hillbillies once again declares itself: no regulation is final, no authority is beyond challenge, and no family resource, be it a shotgun, a tank, or a reluctant candidate, will remain unemployed when the fundamental rights of the household are at stake.